Good morning, everyone. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to find my script. I had it open. I don't know where it went.
Good morning, boys. How you doing?
Morning, Commissioner.
You're looking good. Looks like tough night.
So what? I think we're live now on television. Be careful.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Everybody's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Hey, haven't asked you for a while. How's your mom and your dad?
They're doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking, Commissioner.
He
Still
goes to the
every day. Every day at 7. He's calling me at 7:30 this morning. He was there already. Every day. He comes home a little bit earlier now, around 3 o'clock. But he doesn't stay till 5. But he's every.
I have to go visit.
Yes, you do. Absolutely.
Yes, I have to go visit.
83 and both of them are 83 and they're going strong.
Oh yeah, they're going strong, man.
62 years of marriage, and
it is an amazing couple.
It's a beautiful thing,
It's a
they fight every day. It's so beautiful to watch.
Oh yes, man, and they're always fighting and telling you about.
But they can't be without each other for more. They can't be without each other.
That's right. That's right.
You won't have lunch without him. Well, I gotta wait for your dad to come home to have lunch. He goes home every day to have lunch and then returns.
Yeah, my goodness, that is beautiful, man. That's a beautiful man. Yeah.
Doesn't happen anymore these days,
Can you email me the script?
Chairman, I've sent it to you again.
No, thank you.
It came from Maita Gomez. If you
I had
don't
it open.
Send it again.
For some reason I can't find it, but we send it again, everyone. Yeah. Okay, I found Marx's. All right, there it is. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Pursuant to Executive Order Number 20-246 issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis on September 30th, 2020, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum of its members present physically or any specific location, and utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54, Section 5B2 Florida statutes. Procedures for the public comment will be explained by the city attorney shortly. Procedures for the swearing in of all parties for the planning and zoning and/or quasi-judicial items will be explained by the city clerk. The members of the city commission are appearing remotely. For this meeting, they are Alex Diaz-Lapatia, Joe Corolla, Manila Reyes, Kenny Russell, the vice chair, and me, Keon Harvey, the chairman. Also appearing remotely are city manager Art Noriega, city attorney Victoria Mendez, and city clerk Todd Hannon. Madam City Attorney, please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at meetingcode.com. Any person making a presentation, form, or request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available in the office of the City Clerk or online at meetingcode.com. Pursuant to Section 2-33, subsection F and subsection G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda for this virtual meeting was published and made available to the mayor, members of the City Commission, and to the public at least 5 full business days in advance of the meeting. The material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at MiamiGov.com. A person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair and upon registering pursuant to the published notice, not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission, unless modified by the chair. Since this is a virtual meeting as authorized by the Governor of the State of Florida, members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by visiting MiamiGov.com/virtual meeting to upload their 2-minute video comments to be played during the virtual commission meeting, or to submit their written comments via the online comment form. Comments submitted through the comment form have been distributed to the elected officials and city's administration throughout the day so that the elected officials can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes public comment. Members of the public may also call 305-250-5340 to provide comments via the dedicated City of Miami public comment voicemail, where the individuals will be able to leave a 2-minute message that will be played during the virtual commission meeting. Members of the public may also pre-register to provide live public comment by phone to the meeting. You may pre-register by phone by calling 305-250-5341 or online at miamigov.com/government/live-public-comment. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this virtual meeting and will be considered by the City Commission prior to taking any action. The city will accommodate any speakers desiring to appear in person, subject to all applicable emergency measures in place to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. The city has set up a terminal in the event members of the public travel to City Hall to provide public comment. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any persons exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. In the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the city clerk. Section 286.014, Subsection 4, Subsection C of Florida statutes authorizes the city to prescribe procedures or forms for individual use in order to inform the board or commission who desire to be heard to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on the proposition. The city, through its multiple comment options, has provided 5 different methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at today's commission meeting. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. These public comment options established and provided for the city commission meeting comply with Section 286.014 and Section 120.54 of Florida statutes. The city has also created a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments with either option. Those instructions were provided in the notice to the public via the city's social media channels and published online at miamigov.com/virtual meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. PZ items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance, as temporarily modified by emergency ordinance numbers 13902, 13903, and 13914. Pursuant to emergency ordinance numbers 13903 and 13914, parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.015 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Code. Staff will then briefly present each item to be heard. Applications requiring City Commission approval. The applicant will then present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with staff's recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 in the City Code, providing that the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting actions by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing anything provided to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to Section 2-8 of the City Code. Any documents offered to the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. If any commissioner thinks that documents supplied to the Commission less than 7 days before merit a contingency item, the item may be continued by the City Commission. When the City Commission takes action or votes on any proposition before it shall do so by roll call vote, which should be recorded by the clerk and included in the record. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter to this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. The City of Miami is using Zoom to hold its October 8th, 2020 virtual regular City Commission meeting. Zoom is a cloud platform for video and audio conferencing, collaboration, chat, and webinars across mobile devices, desktops, telephones, and room systems. In order to ensure that the public has the ability to view the meeting, the city's communications department will broadcast the meeting through all usual avenues that are provided when a city commission meeting is held fully in commission chambers of City Hall. Viewed live on miamigov.com/TV, through the city's Facebook page, on the city's Periscope channel, on the city's YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Additionally, the city has not selected a virtual platform that requires the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to watch this meeting. Aside from the Zoom platform and that the participants will be appearing remotely, the public have no discernible difference in their ability to watch the meeting. Commissioners, please confirm you are comfortable with these notice provisions as set forth in these uniform rules of procedure for this virtual meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Confirmed. Yes.
City Clerk, can you read your procedures that should be followed, sworn in ceremony?
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals who will be providing testimony to be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the city clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you are sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the city attorney's office. Each individual who will provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the city clerk at thannon@miamigov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and or quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you will be providing testimony. Chair, there is one individual in the chambers that I need to administer the oath. Is it okay if I do so now?
Please.
Thank you, Chair. Just a moment. Let me have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's meeting is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any items that are going to be withdrawn, continued, or deferred by the administration?
You're
All right.
muted, Mr.
You're muted, all right.
I'm muted. Sorry about that. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. On the regular agenda, defer to November 19th, RE1, to defer to the November 19th meeting, RE2, to be withdrawn, RE6, and to be indefinitely deferred, DI3. On the PZ agenda, to be withdrawn, PZ1, to be withdrawn, PZ2, to be withdrawn, PZ3, and to be withdrawn, PZ4. And that concludes the items that we wish to withdraw or defer.
Okay. Are there any items that the commissioners wish to withdraw, defer, or continue?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
good morning. I'd just like to be listed as a sponsor on PZ7, and I have a pocket item to add when appropriate.
Okay. Just a quick, yeah, you recognize something.
I want to object to, with deferring RE1 and RE2. I want to have a debate on those two items.
I would agree with you there. So I'm one of those persons that want to talk about those items. They've been continued enough. So so basically then, Senator, would you like to remove RE1 and RE2 from consideration in the motion for continuance or deferral?
No, that RE1 and RE2, I want to have a conversation a little bit later today, if I may, Chairman. I think that
So you want to remove it from?
I want to remove it from Mr. Noriega's motion, Mr. Noriega's deferral list.
Okay, so at this point, is there a motion to approve the deferral of EI? I did hear EI, right? Oh, DI, I'm sorry. DI3, RE6, and PZ 1, 2, 3, and 4. Probably move. Second by the clerk. Yes, someone interrupt? Okay, it's probably moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. What we can do really quickly is to read the heading of the pocket item that the Vice Chairman has. Let's read it to the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 10, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended City Code, titled Buildings in General, to establish Section 10.9 of the City Code, titled Failure to Acquire Required Permits, Securing of Construction Sites when under emergency weather warnings or watches, environmental violations, stop work order, penalties, providing for the failure to obtain required permits, providing that compliance with the City Code in general is a requirement of any City of Miami issued building permit, providing for the requirement of all construction sites to comply with pre-natural disaster site secure mandates, stormwater pollution discharge elimination, and erosion control, providing for enforcement pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 10, X, and other existing sections of the City Code, further restricting the ability to seek permits or perform work within the city when violations exist or violations are repeated, providing for a severability clause, and providing for immediate effective date.
Chair, just for the record, Mayor Suarez would like to co-sponsor Commissioner Russell's pocket item.
Noted for the record. And we will label that one as PI number 1. Are there any other pocket items that need to be considered?
Chair,
Yes, you're recognized.
I have a road designation that I'm introducing as a pocket item.
Okay, can you read into the record, please?
It designates, it's a resolution of the Miami City Commission. It requires a 4/5 vote because the gentleman is still alive, still with us. It designates Northwest 16th Street between Northwest 17th Avenue and Northwest 15th Street Road, which is my district, as William Billy W. Riley Way. It's in honor of one of the great labor leaders, Mr. Bill Riley, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, has been at the head of that labor organization for over 30 years. And he's getting up there in age, and I wanted to honor him while he can appreciate it and feel the respect that he rightly deserves.
Mr. Chair, I would like to co-sponsor that.
You don't hear me say this. Okay. As we noted for the record, I identified that one as PI number 2, Bill Riley.
You're right. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
we haven't released a number of other pocket items that deal with some of the COVID-19 restrictions that have been placed, such as the curfew and the 50% occupancy. So we're still working through. I think we're only going to be doing 2 today. I introduce them a little bit later, or you want me to do that now?
The best way is to always introduce it now so that the public comment will be on all of the items, including those items.
Okay, so Ms. Mendez, do you have copies of those pocket items? Have you released it to the other commissioners?
No, but they're pretty self-explanatory. I can read them and then send them out right away.
Yes, please do so.
So the first one is a resolution of the Miami City Commission directing the city manager to permit restaurants in the city of Miami to operate at 100% capacity without limitations in accordance to Emergency Order 2244 issued by the Governor Ron DeSantis on September 25th, 2020, and to further cease all enforcement of the local Emergency Order 3020. So that would be pocket item number 3, Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, and then pocket item number 4 has to do with the parks. Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, that one's still active, correct?
No, I spoke to the manager. I think his assurances are enough for me to know that they're gonna. I'm comfortable with the answer he gave me yesterday during our briefing, so we're gonna need to do that here.
Okay, thank you. And then the next pocket has to do with a discussion of the curfew in general.
Correct. We're introducing that one.
Which that one I don't have a copy right now, but I'll send to everyone. But it's mainly a discussion of the curfew and its enforcement. So it's pretty self-explanatory as well upon when we send it. And then the last one is also a discussion, but I don't know, it was going to be mainly a discussion. I don't know if you want to
The
mention
discussion
that.
on the mask, is that the mask one?
The mask one.
We're gonna withdraw that one for now.
Right, and then the last one had just with governance, the governance item. I don't know if that one you're bringing up now, or it's just going to be a discussion later.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
But we're not gonna vote on it, so I don't think, Mr. Chair, that it requires public input. It's just a discussion item,
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, Madam City Attorney, is there a PI number 4 that you've named? Because I know you read a few different things, but. I
Right.
have 1, 2, and 3. The last one that I have is the restaurant permission to operate without restrictions.
Right, that one is PI 3, and then the other substantive one is PI 4, which has to do with curfews with the curfew.
And that is an item. It's not a. It's not a head.
That one's an item. Yeah, the other ones we resolved.
Well, we haven't resolved them. We're just not gonna discuss them today. We'll come back to them, I'm sure. Before you leave, Commissioner Hardeman, before you go to the upper body.
Upstairs, huh?
Upstairs.
Yeah. Okay, so what I would like to do now then is to open the floor for public comment. The members of the public have 2 minutes to address this body. They state your first name, your last name, and you also may state your address and what item it is that you're speaking of. So at this time, we'll go to the live public comment. I hear that we have someone that is live, maybe at City Hall.
They're not speaking now. I think they're going to connect through Zoom later for the easy items.
Okay, so you're going to go to recorded statements now?
Yes, we're going to go to recorded. We don't have any live callbacks either, so we're going to go straight to recorded public comment.
My name is Brian Alonso at 1581 Brickell Avenue, apartment 2207, Miami, Florida 33129. I strongly support your approval of PH4, long-term lease for Dade Heritage Trust at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace. As president of Dade Heritage Trust from 2013 to 2015, I worked hard with the city of Miami to secure a long-term lease for Dr. Jackson's office. DHT saved this property in the 1970s and worked tirelessly to improve the building and the surrounding neighborhood for years. We needed a long-term lease on the property to give us surety of our continued investment in the property and the ability to apply for grants. We collaborated with Mayor Regalado extensively on this with his support. The final hurdle was to get voter approval, which we accomplished in 2016. After the referendum, I was told by City of Miami Attorney's Office that they were preparing the long-term lease for us to sign shortly. Unfortunately, this is 4 years later, but very happy that this is getting completed. As part of a family that has invested in Miami since 1965 and continues to invest in downtown, preserving our history and giving our citizens a sense of community is vital. Dr. Jackson's office serves as an anchor for Brickell residents, and I look forward to seeing it there for many more years to come.
My name is Megan Dehan. My address is 3057 Day Avenue, Coconut Grove, Florida, 33133. I'm speaking on public hearing number 4 agenda item. This is related to the Dade Heritage Trust lease of their Brickell office location. Dade Heritage Trust is an important organization providing meaningful services to the Miami community. They've called Dr. Jackson office in Brickell home for 44 years, and this commission is voting on whether to renew their lease. I encourage the commission to renew the lease and allow them to stay in their Brickell location. Miami Waterkeeper offers free educational programming in partnership with Dade Heritage Trust to school children across Miami-Dade County at this unique location. This Historic Places Green Spaces program has reached hundreds of the students. It includes an introduction to Biscayne Bay along the Miami Baywalk where students learn about the importance of the bay and participate in water quality monitoring exercises. And for some, this is their first experience with the bay. This is made possible by the physical location where Dade Heritage Trust has their office on Brickell Bayfront. So I urge you to please renew the lease so students can continue to have access to the bay and benefit from the experiential learning activities that are relevant to their environmental education. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Hi, my name is Lisa Pilchman. My address is 186 Southeast 12th Terrace, apartment 1503, calling in regards to renewal of the lease for the Dade Heritage Trust. In the former Jackson House belonging to the physician Dr. Jackson, who was our Miami's first physician. I want to say that I am for renewal of the lease for multiple reasons. I understand the city is looking to sell a small piece of land to developers for a bigger return on investment. I feel like it's a relatively small piece of land, and perhaps there can be a larger return to investment to the city over time, and allowing a small piece of cultural history to remain in the city. When we think about Brickell sort of being overdeveloped already, there's lots of property that's being developed at this point in time. Maybe keeping that one cultural institution can allow the properties that are currently in the city to retain their value. When you think about things that are special about this city or this neighborhood, is that there is a connection also to the hospitals and civic center, and I think also knowing that there's a physical connection of the former Jackson House, I think that helps Brickell just be a desirable neighborhood to live in, and knowing that there is actually even a museum here, the only museum in this neighborhood, a small cultural institution. The building itself is beautiful, with there being lots of different plants surrounding it, and I think that just for general beautification of the city, maintaining value of the property surrounding the building, I think there may be a better return investment for the city just keeping the building where it is and allowing the Miami-Dade Heritage Trust to renew their lease and keep this building, which also provides tours of Brickell, information about Brickell to tourists and things like that, so it can be an attraction.
This is John Snyder. I live at 3980 Hardy Avenue. I'm calling in regard to PH4. I would like you to give the lease to the Dade Heritage Trust. I'm calling to request that you grant the long-term lease for the building and the site where Dr. James L. Jackson practiced from 1914 until his death in 1924. Dr. Jackson initially came to Miami in 1896 as a newly licensed physician and surgeon, and the first doctor in the county. He became a trusted and loyal friend of the first state health officer and organized the fight against epidemics like yellow fever, dengue, smallpox, and measles. He advised the city managers and commission on public health and organized the Miami City Board of Health in 1914. Dr. Jackson was a founding member of the Dade County Medical Association and its president in 1905, 1912, and 1923. He was the president of the Florida Medical Association in 1905 and was an early advocate of continuing education for physicians. As an early member of the Southern Medical Association, he was elected to its presidency in 1911. Professionally, he was not only the first physician in Miami, but clearly the leader of the medical profession. Dr. Jackson was a graduate of Emory University and received his medical training at Bellevue Hospital Medical College in New York. The office, which sits on the site, was constructed about 1905 and was moved to its present site in 1914 when Dr. Jackson was given a free lease on the property for life. An outbreak of yellow fever resulted in an emergency hospital being constructed on First J.Y. Port.
This is Cindy Snyder, 3980 Hardy Road. I'm calling regarding the commission hearing October the 8th, 2020. Item PH4. Great cities are places that honor their histories and their historic figures. The reverence for pride of place is at the heart of everything Dade Heritage Trust does, its mission. Today, our agenda is an item concerning Dade Heritage Trust's continuance of its place in our city. Our city is not brand new, nor is it especially old. Our modern beginnings only date back to the end of the 19th century, when the Mathesons, Ralph Monroe, Julia Tuttle, Henry Flagler, Dr. Jackson, for whom Jackson Memorial Hospital is named, and many others forged the early settlements, the foundations of our present city. These courageous pioneering people selected on this area of natural wonders and accepted its challenges. In today's world, many of the top talents in the fields of science, medicine, business, the humanities, and the arts may still wish to make Miami their home. These well-educated, highly regarded leaders in their fields are typically cognizant of the concepts of pride of place and reverence for one's history. Likewise, history demonstrates we must be suitably respectful of our history, both man-made and natural. Dade Heritage Trust has been and is an important leader in Miami. In that regard, our government has the opportunity to make a positive step in the continuance of that positive leadership by ensuring Dade Heritage Trust's continued and sustained presence where Dr. Jackson had his office and where it has done its important work for Miami toward a positive image and its reputation. It would seem an ill-conceived and tragic misstep to do otherwise. History is important. Please.
Hello, Commissioners. This is Melissa Meyer of 3161 Ohio Street. The office of Dr. James Jackson, in its current location in the heart of Brickell, where it houses the Dade Heritage Trust, is a living historic record that is representative of the dynamic contrast and rapid change in the scale and character of urban Miami. The voters of Miami understand that this building is what makes this Brickell neighborhood special. And I know that you will respect their will by approving the long-term lease of the Dade Heritage Trust in this location. Because you always do the right thing. Well, you often do the right thing. I mean, I know you will do the right thing this time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexa Novakoski. I live at 1155 Brickell Bay Drive, and I am calling about Dr. James Jackson's historical building and the preservation of it. I just wanted to say that it's a beautiful building, and I think that it brings so much to the community. I know personally for me, it's been really beautiful. It's like part of my daily walk that I do twice a day. I always stop by that small book box, and I just think it brings the community together, and it's so beautiful, and it really matters. And especially in times like this when people are separated and there's quite a bit going on, I know that's something that just adds to the heart of Brickell and really brings people together. And I know us who live in Brickell really appreciate the building, and it's such a beautiful building with so much history. And I think it's something that is really important that we keep preserved and here and together. So that's my commentary on that. I hope you would consider and that you consider preserving the building. We definitely don't need another cold high-rise, and I think we do need to allow things that add character and heart to Brickell. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Dever, and I live here in Brickell. For the past 6 months during the pandemic, I'm out almost every day picking up trash, and a lot of people know me for that reason of trash picking up in the area. Behind me, there's a building, historical building that has been here a very long time, and it's a 115-year-old building. There's a motion out there to sell or to move this building and to sell the land to a developer. We don't need another condo or building in this area. As you can see, there's a lot of trees, vegetation here. A lot of people enjoy being around this area here. So please, commissioners, do your job and make sure that this building stays where it is. Sign a long-term lease and stop any thoughts of trying to move this building. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rita Dever, and I've had the privilege of living in Brickell for a little over 4 years now. I came from the Midwest, love the area, and love this Brickell community. Here's my view from my very own balcony. We have a lot of water, especially at the on the roads during certain times because there's a lot of concrete, but there's also a lot of tremendous charm and resources here at Brickell. And the one that I am hoping you will see as an investment is this historical building that is such a great resource. My visitors from the Midwest have a mindset of enjoying a destination with a piece of history, a place that tells a story. They've really enjoyed the museums, they've enjoyed walking tours, the displays. It's a really wonderful addition to our aesthetic and the character of this community. So I hope that you'll consider that. Also, as condo owners, we're concerned about adding any more concrete right here. Obviously, we're going to have another high rise right here, but we're real concerned about our property values. And we're asking you to keep this little green space, a little garden where you can go and actually see a butterfly and not sell out, but instead promote this little gem and a visitor center. And hopefully more tourists will come and they'll linger at our restaurants and they'll spend time here. And it makes more of a rich experience of coming to this great community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carlos E. Zapata. I live at 1155 Brickell Bay Drive, apartment 303, Miami, Florida, 33131. I am a taxpayer, I'm a voter, and I'm a resident of Brickell for many years now. I urge you to lease the land at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace to the Dade Heritage Trust. The building itself is a historic building that adds a lot of life and color, and it adds almost experience to that area. It's an area that's been overdeveloped. There's too many gray, lifeless empty apartment buildings in all of Brickell. This building adds a little bit of life to that area. Regardless of what it adds, it seems a little weird that even though we passed resolution R160348 to give DHT a long-term list on the land, it has been ignored. I don't think that's right. We're voters. We did our due process as voters, made our vote count, and it's being ignored from what I see. I think that's not very, very good at all. And overall, honestly, DHT is a nonprofit. It's trying to add something positive to the community. It's trying to better the area, inform people, give them ideas, give them information, show them the history of the place where we're living. Understand that a lot of people in Brickell don't come from Miami or from Florida, and being able to learn about their area, that's something that should be valued, not just here, but everywhere in this country of ours. If there's anything this area does not need, it's more empty luxury apartment buildings. Does not need. It's going to create too much problem. It's not necessary. We should be focusing on trying to add history and experience to our areas, not useless buildings. Thank you for your time. Please consider leasing the land to DHT. Have a good one.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Mo. I live in 186 Southeast 12th Terrace, Miami, Florida, 33133. I'm calling regarding the building Miami Dade Heritage Trust. I'm against to remove that lease from that property. That's the only location and historic place that we have around the community, and it would be a shame to lose it. So I'm against not renewing the lease. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christina Aguilar. I live in 1155 Brickell Bay Drive, Unit 1108. I'm calling in regards to a petition to move the historic building in order to put in another high-rise. I oppose this. I think this will just lead to more traffic and more construction, and it's going to make our property values go lower. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean Ray. I am the owner of a apartment located at 186 Southwest 12th Terrace, right next to the Heritage Trust historical building. I wanted to leave a comment that I believe that the building should not be moved, that it is a landmark that has been part of our community for many years, that we all enjoy looking at. I think moving it to a different location would take away the historical value of that building. And I don't agree with another building taking its place. Going up to 48 floors would absolutely destroy the property values of the residents in Solaris, who have at the moment a unobstructed view to the Biscayne Bay. So I am opposed to this relocation of the historical landmark, and I appreciate if my comments can be heard in today's meeting. Thank you. If you need to contact me, my phone number is 305-431-5001. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Mary Monroe Seabrook at 3564 St. Gaudens Road in Coconut Grove, 33133. I'm calling about the vote for Dade Heritage Trust to keep its location in Brickell. I believe that it's very important that they keep the same location they've had for many years and continue doing the good work and preserving Miami's historic places. It's so important that we preserve our historic places for future generations. I can imagine Dade Heritage Trust moving to some office building out of the city center where the history all began. So please, I support Dade Heritage Trust, our local history, and allow them to stay at their location in the Brickell area. Thank you very much.
This is Joyce Nelson, Coconut Grove resident. I'm calling about item PH4, Dade Heritage Trust. Dr. Jackson's office is an iconic symbol of Miami's history and the Brickell neighborhood and deserves to be preserved. First, get a quote for what the land is worth, and then a quote for moving the house and any repairs that will be needed. The land is only 600 square feet in size. What can be built on it? The visitor center that Dade Heritage Trust operates at the building is accessible to the thousands of residents and workers on Brickell and to tourists staying in the area. Moving it would cripple its value as a visitor center. Dade Heritage Trust has been an invaluable steward of the building and its history. They lovingly take care of the maintenance costs of about $30,000 a year and provide all maintenance, upkeep systems, and insurance. City-owned historic properties require proper upkeep and a vision for consistent programming and use. Dade Heritage Trust is an excellent custodian. Selling the land to a private developer may provide a short-term gain, but a substantial cost for the relocation and fixing any damage of the 115-year-old building would sustain in the move. Providing utilities at the new site and future of ongoing maintenance would negatively impact the gain. The office is one of the very few low-rise buildings in the area and provides a much-needed alternative to the high-rise towers surrounding it, with its historic architecture and green space. The voters spoke in 2016, approving a long-term lease for Dade Heritage Trust at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace. The will of the voters must be followed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ricardo Roberts. I live on 1155 Brickell Bay Drive. And I am very concerned that you are taking away a historic place like the Heritage. And please don't do it. It's the only thing historic that we have on Brickell. And, well, I'm going to keep pushing on with my Congress or mine or whatever I have to do until we have a notice that this won't happen. So thank you very much. Bye.
My name is Lucila Carrasquilla. I live at Solaris Brickell Bay, apartment 2102. I live next door to the State Heritage Trust, the only museum in Brickell. The address is 186 Southeast 12th Terrace, apartment 2102. I'm calling because I'm against of moving away that museum and building a 48-story there. If that happens, traffic will get worse in Brickell. If that happens, the view of my building will lose everything, and the units of Solaris at Brickell Bay the price will go down. I don't think it's appropriate for our neighbors to be in that process. A lot of negative things. I don't see nothing positive of taking that museum away and building something there of 48 feet high. It is not good for our community, for our neighbors, traffic, too many negativity stuff. Please don't take away the museum and put a building there. Help us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Zulema Rivero. My address is 2121 Southwest 13th Avenue. My property is directly across from the subject address. The item I'm discussing here is PZ 6528, which is regards to the appeal filed by the Village Montessori School. Despite the owners of such said property saying that they have withdrawn this appeal indefinitely, therefore this item PZ 6528 should not be heard in front of the commissioners at the October 8th meeting. Just in case, I would like to say the following. This entire process should not even be considered since the covenant executed in 2007 specifically states only original structure, illuminaire, can go on these lots of land and must have been built by 2009, which has not happened. Otherwise, all reverts to these properties becoming residential, back to residential as opposed to restricted commercial, I apologize. The other subject item is how can a daycare be considered? How can this daycare be considered on these two lots and a certificate of use is pending when there is no realistic drop-off pickup plan for the 186 students, when there's no realistic parking plan for the 186 students, parents, and staff, and there's no realistic waste plan in place for the 186 students. Therefore, under no circumstances should PZ 6528's appeal be approved by our commissioners, not only tomorrow, October 8th, but ever. See records for the properties executed covenant of 2007. Thank you again, and I wish you the best.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Lorena Arnold, and I have worked and lived in Brickell for over 14 years. And Summer Barbie and I, we plan to stay here for the rest of our lives. And we understand that you're voting today, or actually proposing, to move this beautiful heritage cultural location to another venue. And I'm here to oppose this. We know that all great cities, they not only have a robust financial district, but they also have shops and restaurants, green space, parks, and of course, some culture. So while I understand that we have some short-term deficit right now, I oppose moving this location because in the long term, our city, our neighborhood still needs to celebrate our culture and make sure that we keep our city and neighborhood vibrant and interesting and beautiful. Thank you for voting no to the removal of this property. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Dimitri Karabatsos. I live at 1155 Brickell Bay Drive in Brickell. And I just wanted to send a little video to talk about the Dade Trust that you are discussing today. I know I look out my window right now and I see the tiny little plot of land that you are proposing to sell to a developer who says he or she is going to put up a 48-floor building. The first thing I'll say is, A, it'll be the thinnest building on earth. It will be a complete eyesore for the other buildings surrounding it. Traffic will increase exponentially, but probably the most important thing is the Dade Trust is a beautiful oasis amongst a city of high-rises. It is a beautiful little home with beautiful trees around it, and amongst all the concrete and pavement, it is just a beautiful thing to walk by every single day, which is what I do with my family. I think that tearing it down for a little bit of money is wrong. There is plenty of condo space in the city of Miami. As we know, everyone who's moving down from the Northeast and the North is going to single-family homes. So the last thing we need in Brickell is another high-rise, where most of the new high-rises are half empty, if not more. I love high-rise living, but we have plenty of capacity for the people that are moving down here. I think it would be a huge mistake. It reminds me of the mistake that the town created just south of the Jade here in Brickell, where they replaced the grass with AstroTurf, which was quickly replaced with real grass again. Sometimes when you're trying to do something to produce some good, it can have disastrous effects. I hope you change your minds and leave the Dade Trust where it belongs, here in Brickell.
My name is Debbie Dolson. My address is 4205 Lenox Drive, Coconut Grove, and I would like to comment on PH4. There are two possible outcomes for the property located at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace. Number one, sell the property to developers for financial gain, or number two, support the will of your constituents who voted in 2016 to enter into a long-term lease with Dade Heritage Trust. The short-term gain? Sell out to hungry private developers eager to displace this historic building and its current tenants who represent the rich history of our city. The long-term loss? Dade Heritage Trust provides an important service to our city and its history. The hidden costs in securing a new location and the expense of moving this historically designated building would substantially lower the profit from selling this property. Selling this small 6,000 square foot lot would cripple Dade Heritage Trust's current operation on the site, eliminate a visitor center, and endanger the very existence of a tangible piece of Miami's history. In 2016, Miami voters approved a charter amendment for the city of Miami to enter into a long-term lease, which would provide a stationary place for Dade Heritage Trust to accomplish its mission. The choice is clear. This is not about a short-term money grab. It is about representing the voters of Miami and preserving our heritage. Please support the will of your constituents who voted to enter into a long-term lease just 4 years ago. Vote no on PH4.
My name is Nathaniel Parker. I live at 6225 Southwest 123rd Terrace, Miami, Florida, 33156. I would like to comment on public hearing item 4 with relation to Dade Heritage Trust's Brickell office location. Dade Heritage Trust is an important organization providing valuable services to the Miami community. We encourage the Commission to renew the lease and allow Dade Heritage Trust to stay in their Brickell location. Renewing this lease ensures that students will continue to have access to important environmental education related to the Biscayne Bay. For many students, this is the first or only time that they get to interact with Biscayne Bay. This would not be possible without the Dade Heritage Trust physical location along the Brickell Bayfront. I urge you to renew the lease, and I thank you for the opportunity to comment.
My name is Emil M. Borrell, and I'm the homeowner and reside at 1252 Southwest 21st Street. Thank you for the opportunity to express my strong opposition to Village Montessori being granted a reversal of the Planning and Zoning Board's decision not to grant them a zoning exception for a preschool child care facility. When I attended the previous meeting at which the Montessori request was denied, they were less than forthcoming with realistic answers. For example, when asked about staff parking, their response was off-street parking. Specifically where this off-street parking can be found has remained unanswered. Quite a number of years ago, Southwest 21st Terrace between 12th and 13th Avenue was made one-way going east. This was to address complaints of heavy traffic which occurred because motorists did not want to wait for the traffic light where southbound 12th Avenue meets Coral Way. When school is in session at Coral Way Middle School, Southwest 13th Avenue is gridlocked before school starts and again at dismissal. Just ask the residents in the area. Don't forget the traffic generated by the United Way at Coral Way and 12th Avenue. At present, we on Southwest 21st Terrace and Southwest 21st Street are contending with plenty of unwanted traffic cutting through our streets to bypass the traffic light at 12th Avenue and Coral Way. When is enough enough? Can you imagine what dropping off 186 preschool children in inclement weather would be like? Even families with small children in our neighborhood think granting Montessori this exception is a bad idea. I sincerely hope you agree.
Yes, my name is Maritza Barrios Pereira. I live at 1271 Southwest 21st Terrace, Miami, Florida 33145. And I am speaking on item 6528, the Montessori School, of which I am totally against this. We have a covenant that covers that corner there that states that if they did not build the Luminaire building, that it will automatically revert back to residential. Not only that, this school will impact negatively on the neighborhood and on the neighbors because of the traffic, the parking spaces. The project is too big for that corner, and I am totally against it. Not only I, but also all the people around this area. We have complained, and we feel that this is an abuse to the citizens that live here. I bought a house in a residential area, and I want to keep my street a residential street. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
My name is Dolly McIntyre. I have property at 2624 Toluga Drive in Coconut Grove. I'm calling to speak in favor of the lease for Dade Heritage Trust under item PH4. Dade Heritage Trust has occupied and cared for this building for 44 years, and it's the highest and best use of that particular location. So please support what your voters told you to do 4 years ago, and that is to provide a long-term lease to Dade Heritage Trust. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel Bernholz, and I live at 145 Southwest 13th Street in Brickell. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to give a public comment. I would like to discuss public hearing item 4, as I strongly urge you to renew Dade Heritage Trust lease of the Brickell office location at Dr. Jackson's office. Dade Heritage Trust has called the office home for 44 years now, and Dr. Jackson's office is an iconic symbol of Miami's history. The Brickell neighborhood deserves to be preserved. The visitor center that Dade Heritage Trust operates at the building is accessible to the thousands of residents and workers on Brickell and the tourists staying in the area. Moving it would cripple its value as a visitor center. Dade Heritage Trust has also done an incredible job with the building, providing all maintenance, upkeep, systems, and insurance for only $30,000 per year. Selling this land to a private developer might provide a short-term cash gain, but the substantial cost for the relocation, for fixing any damage the 115-year-old building would sustain in the move, providing utilities at a new site, and future ongoing maintenance would negatively impact that gain. The office is also one of the very few low-rise buildings in the area and provides a much-needed alternative to the high-rise towers surrounding it with its historic architecture and green space. Miami Waterkeeper offers free educational programming in partnership with DHT to school children across Miami-Dade County. In this program, students learn about the importance of the bay, and they even participate in a water quality monitoring exercise. For many of these students, this is the first time they've ever interacted with Biscayne Bay. This would not be possible without Dade Heritage Trust's physical location along the Brickell Bayfront. Renewing this lease ensures that students will continue to have access to important hands-on environmental education related to Biscayne Bay. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to comment. I strongly urge you to renew this lease. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Catherine Artie, and I live at 186 Southeast 12th Terrace, apartment 1009. I am leaving a message about the renewal of the Dade Heritage Trust lease. I'm asking that the Dade Heritage Trust have their lease renewed at their current location on Brickell Bay Drive and to not sell the land. Selling this land is a short-sighted move. Brickell has more than enough condos, but very few historic cultural buildings. It is very sad to see that we are willing to damage this treasured building and potentially risk its listing in the National Register of Historical Places. We should be protecting these institutions, not tearing them down. Adding another building will add more traffic and pollution to an already congested area and a fragile ecosystem. Lastly, in 2016, the people voted to provide a long-term lease for the Dade Heritage Trust in that building and at that site. It's disheartening to see that in an election year, when we are trying to get more people to participate, that our politicians are not listening and respecting the voice of the people. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. This is Sarah Cody Edelman, address 1505 Northeast 105th Street, Miami Shores. I'm speaking on item PH4. As I mentioned, I live in Miami Shores, but in 2016, I was a resident of the city of Miami, and I personally voted to allow the city to extend the lease agreement for Dade Heritage Trust and allow them to stay in the historic building that has served as their headquarters for the last 44 years. I respectfully urge you to please approve what your residents voted for. Dade Heritage Trust is a huge asset, not just to the city of Miami, but to the Brickell community. They serve as a visitor center. They offer tours. They're the only museum in Brickell. They're also Miami's only designated bike-friendly business. They have an award-winning free educational program, and they're a hugely important partner for many agencies such as Miami-Dade County, the City of Miami, and the Visitor Convention Bureau. And from a historic preservation perspective, because I'm the historic preservation chief for Miami-Dade County, though I'm providing comments on my own behalf, not on behalf of the county, moving a historic building is not as simple as it may sound. There's a lot of questions about who would finance that, who would pay for the move, who would pay for any damage done to the building during the move, who owns the parcel where it'd be moved to? Does the parcel need to be purchased? Who's going to pay to lay a new foundation, to set up utility connections? I truly believe that the long-term gain of keeping Dade Heritage Trust in their Brickell community greatly outweighs the short-term benefits of selling the lot to a developer. Please respect what the residents voted for and approve the lease for Dade Heritage Trust. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Iris Guzman-Kalaya. I'm a proud lifelong resident of the city of Miami. I currently work as a writer and researcher looking into the history that we have here in South Florida and the stories and the people that make up our incredible past. I'm sending this video to you today on behalf of the Dade Heritage Trust in connection with their efforts to keep their lease at their current location. I think what we all need to recognize is the home of Dade Heritage Trust is not only architecturally and historically significant because of the structure, but it also has everything to do with its location. The two go part and parcel, if you excuse the pun, together. And that's a really important piece that I think we need to remember, that location, that site is such a great reminder. It's a physical testament to how far we've come as a community. And unfortunately, we don't have enough of those physical reminders here in South Florida, which makes what we have with the Dade Heritage Trust all that much more remarkable and special. So I would urge commissioners, as you make decisions about our future, please don't forget about our past. Thank you so much.
Christine Rupp, 190 Southeast 12 Terrace, Miami 33131. Good morning, Commissioners. As Executive Director of Dade Heritage Trust, I'm speaking on item PH4, the approval of the Dade Heritage Trust long-term lease at the city-owned historic building here at 190 Southeast 12 Terrace, where we've operated for the last 44 years. In 2016, the voters of Miami approved a long-term lease for Dade Heritage Trust in this location, and it's just coming to you now for final approval. The building is a lasting symbol of history of Miami and the Brickell neighborhood and should remain in its current location. For 44 years, we have lovingly cared for your historic asset, our office, the original 1905 office of Dr. James Jackson. Our carrying costs average about $30,000 a year here. We pay for insurance, exterior and interior maintenance, all systems and systems upgrades, landscaping improvements, and of course, hurricane protection. The Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Miami Downtown Development Authority, of which you are the current chairman, Commissioner Reyes, partner with us on many initiatives, including Dade Heritage Trust operation at this building as an official visitor center. Open 7 days a week, we welcome residents and visitors from around the globe who are attracted to our lovely wood frame historic building and our beautiful botanical native garden right here in the middle of Brickell. We provide information about tourism, tours, transit options, and cultural destinations around Miami. We present wonderful exhibits, and we also currently have a wonderful K-12 free educational program that introduces students to our building, the Miami Bay Walk, and area city parks. Everything we do at this building promotes the city of Miami and educates residents, visitors, and students about the importance of preserving the cultural, environmental, and architectural heritage of our diverse and dynamic city. We are very proud to call this building our home and wish to remain here. Please follow the will of the voters and approve our lease. Support our good works that benefit the city and its residents and allow us to continue to care for and promote this beautiful historic asset where it sits today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leah Shadle. I am calling in regards to agenda number PH 47611 regarding the bid waiver for the Dade Heritage Trust. I am a resident of Brickell. My address is 1155 Brickell Bay Drive, Miami, Florida 33131. My building where we own our condominium is across the street from the Dade Heritage Trust. And I'm calling to ask you to please extend the lease to the Dade Heritage Trust. This is a really important piece of our Miami history, and the last thing we need in our neighborhood is another high-rise building. To sell this land to a developer would only contribute to the overcrowding, traffic, environmental degradation, and congestion in the area. So I would please urge you to extend the lease with the Dade Heritage Trust in accordance with what Miami residents voted for a few years ago. Thank you.
I saw your thing.
Hello, my name is Holly Baker. I live at Solaris at Brickell Bay, 186 Southeast 12th Terrace. I am calling in regards to the Dade Heritage Trust. I am wanting just to share that I think it would be a huge mistake to sell or move the trust building, sell the property to a developer and develop a high-rise. I read that it could go up 48 floors. This little tiny area is already so congested with so many people. You've got the club adjacent to us. There's a parking lot which apparently is going to be developed within the next couple of years. We hear through the grapevine. The trust is it's just a really endearing spot to have a little piece of history in Brickell. I couldn't even imagine a high rise going up on that small little plot of land. It would just be so cumbersome, such a mess. I think it would be a huge disservice to this area, not to mention obstructing the views of the residents that have been living in Solaris for many years. Thank you. So I'm opposed to this idea. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Kevin Marshburn. I live at 1155 Brickell Bay Drive.
And I am calling in support of the Dade Heritage Trust. I think it would be very short-sighted for the city to sell that historical piece of property for financial gain on an already crowded street and neighborhood and lose a real piece of neighborhood character there. And I think it also would go against the wishes of all of the immediate residents in that area that I've talked to. So I would strongly oppose the idea of selling that historic site and building another high-rise, which we definitely don't need in the Brickell Bay area. Thank you.
My name is Emily Yeager, and my address is 285 Sunrise Drive, Key Biscayne. I would like to speak on item 4 related to the Dade Heritage Trust lease of their Brickell office location. Today, I would encourage the Commission to renew the lease and allow the Dade Heritage Trust to stay in their Brickell homes. Dade Heritage Trust is an important organization providing valuable services to the Miami community, including free educational programming in partnership with the Miami Waterkeeper. Through this programming, students learn about the importance of the Bay and protecting it. Renewing the Dade Heritage Trust lease ensures that students will continue to have access to important hands-on environmental education related to Biscayne Bay, and also ensures that the historical site will not be torn down in favor of a newer building, which, in being built, could itself contaminate the Bay. I urge you to renew the lease and to ensure the longevity of this organization, which has so positively impacted our community. Thank you so much for the opportunity to comment today.
Hello, my name is Kelly Cox. Address is 2103 Coral Way, second floor, Miami, Florida, 33145. I'm calling today on behalf of Miami Waterkeeper to speak on public hearing item 4 related to the Dade Heritage Trust lease at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace. Miami Waterkeeper is an educational programming partner of Dade Heritage Trust, and their location in the Brickell area, their historic headquarters, is really critical for us to be able to enact educational programming. We work with Dade Heritage Trust to provide field experiences to students from all across Miami-Dade County for free to near Biscayne Bay along the Miami Bay Walk. Through this program, the students learn about the Bay's environmental significance, they perform water quality exercises, and they get experiential field learning. For many of these students, this is their first interaction with Biscayne Bay, and it's so important to have the access to the water in this Brickell location to allow for this educational programming to move forward. I'd like to urge this commission to approve Dade Heritage Trust lease at the building they've occupied for 44 years. They are truly a pillar of our community, and it has been Miami Waterkeeper's great pleasure to work with this incredible organization. We encourage you, therefore, to renew the lease and support Dade Heritage Trust and the services that they provide to our community. Thank you very much.
I am Ashley Campbell, and I live at 6630 Southwest 57th Avenue in South Miami. I'm speaking on public hearing item number 4. I encourage the Commission to renew the lease for Dade Heritage Trust. They are not only beneficial for tourists, but also residents. Dade Heritage Trust provides free educational programming and green space programs that introduce students to Biscayne Bay. Renewing this lease will ensure that students continue to have access to environmental education, which can inspire careers to help further the fight for better water quality and climate change in Biscayne Bay. The substantial costs for relocation and short-term cash gain from a private developer are not worth more than the benefits of inspiring future generations. So I again urge you to renew the lease. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Rachel Silverstein, and I'm the Executive Director and Waterkeeper at local nonprofit Miami Waterkeeper. Our address is at 2103 Coral Way. I want to speak to you today about an issue that is not a typical Miami Waterkeeper issue, but is extremely important nonetheless and directly affects one of our partner organizations, the Dade Heritage Trust. The Dade Heritage Trust has called the Dr. Jackson office in Brickell home for 44 years, and they run extremely important programming and community partnerships out of that office. And it's not only a place to host programming, but it is an educational experience just to visit itself. We have, in particular with Miami Waterkeeper, our Historic Places Green Spaces program, where we have introduced hundreds of students to Biscayne Bay and the Miami Bay Walk by visiting the Dr. Jackson office with Dade Heritage Trust. We hope that they can continue to have this important hands-on educational experience in this very important historical location. And please renew their lease to ensure the continuation of this wonderful community-focused organization. Thank you so much.
My name is Natalie Bryce. I live at 6566 Southwest 52nd Terrace. I would like to speak on public hearing item 4 regarding the Dade Heritage Trust lease of their Brickell office location. The Dade Heritage Trust has occupied this location for 44 years, and they've been directly involved with Miami Waterkeeper to promote environmental awareness and education to students in Miami-Dade County. A lease renewal would allow these students to have continued access to important hands-on education opportunities related to Biscayne Bay. Such opportunities allow the students to get directly involved and invested with water quality monitoring and learn about the important body of water that is right in their backyard. This is an incredibly important way to foster a sense of environmental awareness and to educate the next generation of climate-informed students. I strongly encourage a renewal of the lease in Brickell. Thank you for your leadership and for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Hi, my name is Nkosi Muse. I am a doctoral student. My address is 50 Biscayne Boulevard. I'm making this public comment today because I have some genuine concern about the dilemma that the Dade Heritage Trust currently faces. I genuinely believe that the Dade Heritage Trust is a gem to the Miami community because it provides essential services and important services to those within the Miami community and those outside of the Miami community. Now, I could understand, or it would be one thing if the Dade Heritage Trust was just a landmark building. But besides the fact that it is the former office of Dr. James Jackson, it also provides important services to the city of Miami. Some of these services align with missions that organizations such as the Miami Waterkeeper have, which are essentially to protect the best interests of the people of Miami and its resources for over 20 years now. So with that, I generally do not understand why uprooting the Dade Heritage Trust would be a good thing when it educates people on topics that have been largely a part of public hearings, such as Biscayne Bay, for some time now. I ultimately believe that in the long run, ensuring that the Dade Heritage Trust remains in the city of Miami or in Brickell would ultimately save the city of Miami money in the long run and be more beneficial. I believe that uprooting the Miami-Dade Heritage Trust would be more harmful than beneficial. And I believe that extending the lease would be essential and important to the people of Miami. So with that, again, I strongly urge you to renew the lease because I believe that it would be more beneficial to the city of Miami and its people than harmful. Thank you.
This is Donna Shelley. My address is 7000 Southwest 80th Street, apartment 102, Miami, 33143. And I'm calling regarding Dade Heritage Trust and the land beneath this historic building. I am requesting that you leave the building right where it is, as the public has intended. Again, it's Donna Shelley from 33143. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Maria Ruiz. I'm a resident of the Brickell area in the city of Miami and am president of the board of directors at the Mark on Brickell Bay condo on Brickell Bay Drive. As I understand it, in 2016, the Miami voters spoke and amended the city charter for the city to enter into a long-term lease so that the historic Jackson office on the corner of 12th Terrace and Brickell Bay Drive could remain right where it's been for over 100 years. It's been 4 years with no lease. I understand the city met 2 weeks ago to discuss this issue and that the commission is considering not renewing the lease and instead moving the house, selling the land, and making way for new development in that space. Speaking for myself, I oppose such a move. A new development in this area would only create more traffic congestion in an already congested area. Moreover, the people of the city of Miami have spoken on this issue. They want the Jackson office to stay right where it is. As of this video, more than 85 residents in my building have signed a petition that asks the commission to follow the will of the people and renew this lease. As of this meeting, we will have submitted that petition to you, and surely there will be even more signatures on it. We ask that you renew the lease and follow the will of the people. Thank you.
Greetings, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
My name is Dr. Suzando Blecky-Lewis. I'm Associate Professor of Clinical Medicine for the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine at 1120 Northwest 14th Street in Miami, 33136. I am the University of Miami lead for the NIH Coronavirus Prevention Network and the site principal investigator for the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine trial. I'm speaking today in favor of item RE8. As you know, the COVID-19 vaccine effort requires setup and execution of large clinical trials in an unprecedented time frame. Practically speaking, this means that we are pushing the physical limits of available space in our clinical research units. The federal government, through Operation Warp Speed, has provided the trailer to allow additional space for enrollment and follow-up of COVID-19 vaccine participants. The University of Miami has been very successful in bringing in participants representative of the diversity of Miami and in performing high-quality clinical research in this important area. This resolution will allow us to use the government-provided trailer located at 1950 Northwest 7th Avenue to have additional space that is critical to our ability to carry out these trials and to ensure that the people of Miami are well represented in these important studies. Thank you for your consideration of this request. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. Please do not hesitate to reach out for discussion. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Sabrina Velarde. I'm speaking on behalf of Miami Homes for All. Our address is 1951 Northwest 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33136. I'm speaking today in support of item PH4 and of our partners at Dade Heritage Trust Miami. Miami Homes for All is a proud partner of Dade Heritage Trust. We believe that they provide an immeasurable value to Miami and specifically to the Brickell area. Moreover, their home is an iconic symbol of Miami's history and is representative of the small-scale buildings we continue to see in Miami's neighborhoods today. We ask that this commission approve this resolution so that this excellent organization can continue its work on behalf of our community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Abreu. I live in 186 12 Terrace, Miami, Florida 33131, and I'm calling regarding the renewal of the lease of the Dr. Jackson Museum, where now the Dade Heritage Trust has their offices. I found out that the lease of this building is not going to be renewed. In 2016, I voted in order to make a long-term lease for this facility, and I would like to support that it keeps that way. This is the only museum we have in the Brickell area, and if this is moved, it can create a lot of damages. I don't believe it will stay the same. And also, the space over there is very small to create another building, high tower. So this is something that we must preserve, and we need to respect what the voters wanted in the 2016 elections regarding this topic. So I hope you guys honor us as voters and to renew the lease for the Dade Heritage Trust for long term as agreed in the election. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Terrence Tennant. I live at 186 Southeast 12th Terrace in Miami, Florida, 33131. I wanted to comment on the Dade Heritage Trust and the doctor's house, which was the first doctor in Miami. I would really appreciate keeping this house located where it is with the heritage that it has. And please renew its lease for a long time to come so that other Miami-Dade and Brickell residents may enjoy this beautiful, beautiful, scenic, historical place. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, this is Charles Laredo. I reside at 1004 Southwest 16th Avenue. I am speaking on behalf of the Dade Heritage Trust lease issue. I am in favor of the city finally finalizing a lease. This was approved by the voters by referendum and a charter amendment back in 2016. I don't understand why it hasn't been done yet. This is an association that protects all of us here in Dade County, protects our heritage, protects our history, of which we have very little. So again, I'm speaking in favor of finally executing the lease for the Dade Heritage Trust building in the Brickell area. Thank you. Where it exists now.
My name is Luis Herrera, President of Vizcaya Homeowners Association, 1181 Southwest 22nd Terrace. I call in respect to PCABS for the Montessori school. I'm against it because the Montessori school, they don't have no parking for the customer, no parking for the employee. I don't know why they're going to give a permit to open the school when they don't have the right thing to have a school in that particular corner. Thank you. And against that school in that particular area where the quality of life of the people is endangered. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victorio Parravano. I am a student at Florida International University, and I have a project on. I have to report on a newsworthy event, and I have chosen the City Commission meeting taking place on October 8th. I stay at 8518 Northwest 114th Court in Doral, and I was wondering if you can call me. Anyone can reach out back to me at this number, which is 763290622, or at my email vittorio2011@hotmail.com. In correspondence to an interview I have to set up with 2 board members, as part of my project. I will be watching the meeting tomorrow, but I didn't find any contact information on the city website. So I was wondering if I could get maybe like a phone number or even an email so I could set up a couple questions that I have for any members that are willing to answer them. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's Victoria Tellerico, and my address is 1155 Brickell Bay Drive. It's Miami, Florida, Unit 1504. And I am calling regarding tearing or relocating the historical site in Brickell. I think it's a terrible call. And I think that our city is already lost everything that was historical about it. The traffic will be a nightmare. And we really don't need to see any more high rises built on such a small piece of property. Thank you.
Hello, this is Claudia del Rosario. I live in 1155 Brickell Bay Drive. And I'm calling opposing the removal of the monument. We have already so much traffic in Brickell, so we don't need another building. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rodrigo Padron. I live in 1155 Brickell Bay Drive. I'm calling because I don't think that the monumental building here, the medical one, should be destroyed. I would like to preserve that part of history. I wouldn't want to, demolished. Also, aside from that, the traffic it'll cause, and also it's such a small space that you really can't, work with that. But yeah, definitely. I really hope you guys don't destroy it and really preserve it, because it is obviously history. All right, thank you. Hope you respect what I say.
Good morning, Mayor and Commission. My name is Sydney Genghis. My address is 2263 Southwest 37th Avenue in Miami. And the item number I would be talking about is 4. I just think this is really important because I'm a student at Erasmus, and students learn about the importance of the Bay, and they even participate in a lot of the water quality monitoring. And to me and my students, this is a very important and eye-opening opportunity. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to comment. Thank you. Have a good one.
My name is Sarah Tyler. I reside at 601 Northeast 23rd Street in Miami, Florida, 33137. I would like to make a public comment for public hearing item 4 regarding Dade Heritage Trust lease of their Brickell office location. The Dade Heritage Trust is an important organization providing valuable services to the Miami community. Miami Waterkeeper offers free educational programming in partnership with the Dade Heritage Trust to school children across Miami-Dade County. Students here have the opportunity to learn about the importance of the bay and participate in water quality monitoring. This cannot be possible without Dade Heritage Trust physical location along the Brickell Bayfront. Renewing this lease ensures that the students will continue to have access to important hands-on environmental education related to Biscayne Bay. I encourage the Commission to renew the lease and allow Dade Heritage Trust to stay in their Brickell location, and I thank you for the opportunity for this public comment.
Hi, my name is Erica Mullen, and my address is 628 Zamora Avenue, Coral Gables. I am providing this testimony in support of Dade Heritage Trust, maintaining their long-term lease on the Dr. James Jackson House at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace in Brickell. Dade Heritage Trust provides a vital service for Miami-Dade by advocating for cultural preservation and educating the public on tangible and intangible history of the area. This service allows Miami to retain those parts of its past that make it unique, which in turn spurs tourism to the area. The house they occupy furthers that mission and allows them to provide educational outreach as well as acting as a resource for visitors. In addition to the house providing a working space for Dade Heritage Trust, as well as a visitor center, the history and architecture of the building make it a rare early survivor that reflects Miami's past. As the house of Miami's first doctor, the house provides a link to the earliest days in Miami and provides an educational opportunity for people and groups to learn about that past. Additionally, the house retains a high degree of integrity with the hipped roof, triangular pedimented entry, and simple supporting columns. The house is a rare surviving example of this style in the area, and as such needs to be maintained in situ. The citizens of Miami have already given their support for Dade Heritage Trust, maintaining a long-term lease on the house. To break with that decision would be a violation of the trust the citizens place in their government. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Alexandria Blake, and I am a resident of Miami. Today I am calling in relation to item 4. I'm making this phone call today to ask the Commission to vote to renew their lease and grant Dade Heritage Trust to stay in the Brickell location. This organization does many valuable sources to our community. One such issue is that educational programs would be lost if the lease was not renewed. I have worked as a teacher for children through substituting for many years and believe it is highly important to take part in educating the public and those around us. Again, I ask the Commission today to please vote to renew the lease. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Vera Hochberg. I live at the Mark, 1155 Brickell Bay Drive, apartment 1911. And I'm making this video to save the Miami-Dade Heritage Fund. I'm making this video from my balcony of the Mark, and I'm going to show you that Miami-Dade Heritage Fund is the only green oasis in the neighborhood. It's a little house surrounded by fruits. It has a balcony with rocking chairs. And that's the only oasis among all those high rises. So please, let's save Miami-Dade's architecture, cultural heritage, and beauty from the past. Thank you very much.
Yo soy María Batista, vivo en la 35 Street en Miami, Florida, 33127, y quisiera opinar de que no estoy de acuerdo de que hagan el expressway porque no quiero vender. Estoy vieja ya, tengo 76 años y quisiera quedarme en mi casa. Esa es la opinión mía. Ok, gracias.
Ya que solo puede estar con 278 habitantes, quienes se animen recibirán.
Good morning, I'm the Spanish interpreter. I'm Maria Batista. I live at 35th Street, Miami, Florida, 33127. I would like to express my opinion and say that I don't agree with building the expressway because I don't want to sell. I'm old, I'm 75, I'm 76 years old, and I would like to stay in my house. That's my opinion. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any more public comment, correct?
Yes, there's one person that's would like to speak from the attendee list.
Okay.
Ms. Cox, you're live.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me okay? My name is Kelly Cox. I'm the general counsel with Miami Waterkeeper. We're a local nonprofit that's dedicated to protecting South Florida's watershed. Today, I'd like to speak in favor of Commissioner Ken Russell's pocket item related to increased enforcement on construction sites for excess sedimentation that's entering our bay. Biscayne Bay is experiencing a decline right now, and that decline is being made worse by a variety of different pollution inputs. Sedimentation and runoff from construction sites is just one pollution input, and we are hoping that this additional measure that would allow the building manager, the building director and the building department to issue stop work orders and to issue fines and things like that would really help with increased enforcement when we do see pollution occurring in real time, and would allow us to swiftly intervene to curtail that pollution. So today I'd like to voice Miami Waterkeeper's support of this item, and we encourage you to help it move forward. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone. Are there any mayoral vetoes?
Chair, there are no mayoral vetoes.
Do we have quorum? Yes, we do. Okay. All right, so let's start to move some agendas then. Is there a motion to approve the CA agenda?
1 second.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay. In regard to PH1, the CDBG, has the dollar amounts been clarified? I know that there was a mistake that was entered on the record.
Which was a mistake?
Well, it was within my allocation that I had. So I need someone from the city manager's office to clarify whether or not they made those amendments or expected me to do that on the floor. Is George here? If
We're
not,
gonna get George or Sandy on in 2 minutes. Yeah, give us a quick second.
I'm gonna move.
I also, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I also had a question I asked yesterday in my briefing. There were two new organizations that were being funded, and I wanted to know the names of those organizations. I asked the city manager yesterday. they were gonna get back to me with that. They
There
haven't.
was an email sent.
We had
sent
a
out.
very
Let me-
late,
let me-
late briefing last night, so I don't have.
Yeah, there was an email sent to you, Commissioner. Let me see if I can get access to it.
Where, today?
Let me see. Yes.
I just have all these emails from the Dade Heritage Trust on the issue that I can't get to it. Did you find it?
Looking for it. Oh, here we go.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Someone has feedback. You might want to check.
Yeah, so it was sent last night, I think at 7.
I have it.
See the allocations. Let me see if it's
I
on.
have it.
Okay. Make sure your question got answered.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Mensah,
Yes.
Pending.
have you substituted the changes that were supposed to have been made? Because there were some things that were not correct in the last saw.
Yes, good morning, George Mensah, Director of Housing and Community Development. Yes, I did speak to James. The changes were asked to make, we did make them. However, when we did the initial allocation, there was an error in the Excel calculations. And so James wanted me to show that the agencies are getting a lot more money than they got last year, and that those ones that you had asked that we move out of were already moved out. And so you have, yeah.
You were speaking a little low, but so to clarify then, where can I find the changes that were made?
If you look at, because of the fact that we are not able to break them out in districts, you cannot see, but if you look at the original one that we sent you, Liberty City Optimists originally had 67,000, and then you had multi-ethnic 37,000. You asked us to provide the multi-ethnic 37,000 and give it to the hosters. No, the farm, you asked us to put the farm network 32,000 and give it to the hosters. And give that to the hosters. And then you asked that the 37,000 from multi-ethnic goes to the Liberty City Optimists. However, we had already had your allocation higher than what it should be. So what we did was we were up by more than $30,000. So we took that off from the Liberty Optimist so that they now have 70,000.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I can't hear him.
Yeah, I have problems hearing.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of money being moved, so I'm hearing parts of it. And I really want to hear this. It's very important. So, Mr. Mensah, if you could speak up.
George, is there any way you can put something on the screen to create a visual for them to augment your verbal presentation, because they would help them see it?
Let me see it.
I think it might just make things easier for you guys to understand it.
I agree, Manager. Mr. Chair, we're going to move any money from one place to another. Let's make sure we take it out of District 2, Commissioner Russell's budget, and shift it to us. But make sure that poor Allapattah, doesn't get anything. And for the first time since I've been here, Mr. Chair, this list that I have in front of me, in first place is the name Allapattah. For the first time, Allapattah is in first place, ranked #1 in funding for our seniors centers. And to me, that makes me very happy. So I think we're going to go anywhere. Let's go to Russell's district, get it out of there and put it over here. But please leave poor Allapattah alone if we can. And now the hostels are a different story because it serves both your district and mine. They do great work there. So, but just remember the poor kids in my neighborhood too. They need, and our poor seniors also need to have their resources.
No, so to clarify,
I always worry because you're a very clever man and you're a very smart man, and you're about to leave. I just want to make sure you know that you don't take anything with you when you leave.
As a matter of fact, if I might add, send something back. Send some of the funds that you have the county, send it back.
Chair, just give it to
right.
us. You know, say, guys, you keep this.
I would not intentionally harm any of you.
I know that.
So all of this funding is actually within my district. So I was moving around within.
I know. I'm just it's just a little levity. That's all I know. But the hostels matters because Vincent called me too, and they do great work there.
Yes.
And I went there a lot when I was campaigning, and you know, and I see the work that they do there. It's in your district, but a lot of people that he serves are in my district also. So it's kind of like a 60-40. So it really serves both of our constituents. So it's an important area for us. So I'm glad that you're doing the effort to put the dollars there for him.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, that as senior center have been serving that community for a long time, and it needs to be properly funded. Because there is a lot of senior residents that's the only place they have to go and have a good meal, and also socially they have a good time there and have been there forever. Let's see.
I completely agree with you, and Miami-Dade County is actually has their foot on their neck right now, so it's very interesting what's happening.
Absolutely, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get them some more resources. And I'm moving it around within my budget, at least to get them there in a number of different ways. So you better believe you have a part of me with that. How we move forward with that. Okay, so George.
Yes.
We're ready for you.
Okay, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, we had the multi-ethnic is 77,000, and you requested that we move that to Liberty Optimist. And then there's family farm 32, and you requested that we move it to the hostel. Now, what I was saying was that we overestimated the allocation for D5. And so what we did was that we reduced the overestimation from the Liberty City Optimist Club. And so the actual amount that came to is 70, I believe it's 72,524. Now, in the past few years, in the last 5 years that we've been funding them, they've never spent anything more than 60,000. They've always left money on the table. So this 72,000 that we're giving them, we doubt that they'll be able to spend it, but you know, we think that at least that gives them the ability to spend over the 60,000 that they've normally got.
So let me tell you something very interesting, gentlemen. When I first came in, right, I was discouraged rather, to give the Liberty City Optimist Club any money, because apparently they had some issues with how they were, how the money was being managed. That was the way that was described to me.
Yes.
At the time, there was Coach Sam Johnson, who was legendary at that place. He was one of my former coaches. His name is on the building that has the new gymnasium there. He had just recently passed, and they were trying to keep everything together. His wife was stepping in as a volunteer role to be to run the organization, but it just was a very, very hard time, and so they couldn't properly manage themselves. And so, of course, like any good Miamian from that community would do, I fought against that, and we ensured that they had funding. Now, one of the problems that organizations like this have is the ability to spend money that they don't already have. So a lot of this works by reimbursement. And so if you don't have any money, you can't spend it in the first place. If you're an organization that does very, very well for yourself, you can take a credit card, spend the money, and move on. But for many of our organizations in places where they're fighting poverty, they don't have that ability. And so you'll have people who volunteer there will float the money. They will, they'll pay it up front and then hopefully get reimbursed sometime later. And that's why the reimbursement process is very, very important for the city as far as getting it timely reimbursed and not really jerking people around. So, so Liberty's the opposite. When he says they leave money on the table, he very well describes an organization that's very conscious of its spending, and has a more difficult time than many other organizations in trying to ensure that the money is spent and that they get reimbursed because they don't have anyone that's on they don't have an access to a $100,000 limit credit, and so that's part of the issues that organizations like this have. To do is because the Liberty I wouldn't want you to take the money away from them. That's precisely why I'm trying to increase the amount. And so instead, take that difference that you overcalculated from World Literacy Crusade of Florida. And then when you take it from there, restore Liberty Optimist back to where it was, plus the additional funds that you were going to be giving them to be able to service all the kids that they're getting, especially moving forward now that this COVID-19 stuff is going to be lifted.
Okay, so move them to 104,000, which is what it was.
But it was with the correct allocations that I gave. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And so if there are, I don't know if there are any other corrections that need to be made on the record in any other districts.
But Mr. Chair, I wanted to tell you something because typically when organizations have a similar situation that you just outlined, what we do is that we pay directly to the providers. So for example, if they have full supply, instead of them paying and us paying, we pay directly to the food, so they just have to give us the invoice and we pay directly to them. So that should help them. And I'm sure that's something technical, something that we can provide to them so they can be able to do that.
We need to make that very plain to all the organizations. So
yes.
They don't have
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, you're recognized.
To that effect, we have to do it to every organization, but I had a lot of complaints, and Bill's was one that it took a long time for them to get their food providers reimbursed and paid. What we have to do, we have to expedite those payments so the services cannot be cut, that they cannot be interrupted. You see, particularly in those organizations that they serve the elders and the youth and everybody that needs it, and they have contractors that they provide the services, and then they are paid, and we cannot. It takes so long, for those contractors because they have expenses also. You see, and if we take a month, 2 months, 3 months before they get a check, you see. That goes against the people that are providing our services and also makes the people that are those organizations nervous. You see, and I've received many calls from that. I mean, not only from this, but they also is one.
Yes, Commissioner, I was going to tell you that the only agency that we have issued with the hostels.
That's right.
It always happens in the beginning of the year based on the contract and the signing of the contract. However, we have a 14-day turnaround, and it is part of our performance measure that is reported on a monthly basis, and we do better than the 14-day turnaround. As a matter of fact, most of our performance measures is 10 days turnaround. The hostels, we have some problems with them, and which we always try to get, and that's the reason why they have more of poverty initiative funds than CDBG funds, because they had some financial issues to deal with, but we're working with them, make sure that the contracts are paid. Yes.
And also, you well know that from my office, we also give the hostels about $4,000.
Yes.
We always do, because that is a very important. As Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla stated, they are serving not only people from the Commissioner of Health, but they also serving people from Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, and that is a very, very, very low income area, and they need to be taken care of.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, wonderful. So here we are.
So I move it?
Yeah, with all the amendments that are especially made on the record.
So moved.
I second it.
Any further discussion on the item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? That motion
As
carries.
amended?
As amended.
That's amended.
And that is
Is there, let me see, 1 second. Is there a motion on PH 2 and 3?
Wish to.
So moved. PH 2 and 3?
Correct.
So moved.
So properly
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Is there a motion on PH 5?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, I'm very happy to note that we are including the purchase of hybrid vehicles in this lease extension. So my understanding is we've already purchased about 234 hybrid vehicles in changing out our fleet, and our goal is to get up to 500 of our total 2,200 vehicles to be hybrid. So it's a good move on our part, not only financially with this lease program, but also in the vehicles that they're purchasing.
Wonderful.
Very good.
See no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion carried.
Mr. Chair,
You recognize, sir.
Commissioner Russell, I'm curious. You have other people in the room there with you?
There was a briefing in here a little while ago with about 6 people, so I'm just letting the air clear a little bit.
Oh, okay, but you will take off that mask, right? I mean, even Kamala Harris yesterday wasn't wearing a mask.
No, it goes with the superhero look. Remember?
You know, since we have the sunshine law, we can't really talk to each other, but I can tell by facial expressions. You know, some of us have more of a poker face than others. You don't have a good one, Commissioner Russell. So I need to see your whole face to figure out which way you're going.
Okay. I know that the clerk informed me that this is a body, right? The clerk informed me that that PH4, that Commissioner Carollo wants to discuss, be a part of the discussion of PH4. And so, I mean, it's up to us. We can do some more business before we're going back to it.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to.
Let's keep on going and go back when he's present.
Okay. So let's.
Can I move the RE items?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any dispute? Obviously without RE1 and RE2.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think RE6 was already
I don't think
it was withdrawn.
I'm sorry, withdrawn.
Withdrawn. I have just a comment on RE4, and I want to make sure that the official seal and the official logo is the one that we have now. That this does not change our official logo. I mean, this all provides, either a commissioner or the mayor to use a temporary seal. But our official seal, it is not changed.
And that was, Mr. Chair.
So let's do this. We want to have that discussion, but we can't have RE4 in this motion because SR item is.
Well, but Chair, I think he's just asking whether the official, because I have the same concern. That the official seal is the official seal, and that's the answer to the question. Then we can move the whole thing.
Absolutely.
We can pull whatever we want to pull.
The answer to that question is yes. The seal is the official seal, and any temporary seals or alternate seals would have to come before the City Commission for approval.
Okay, and it will be for temporary use.
Correct.
Okay.
So I move all of them except RE1 and RE2, and the rest of I move all the RE items, including
RE4. And RE4 for some reason had to come out because the SR item needs to come before it. So the motion will be everything except RE1, 2, and 4.
You want to pull 4 out?
Right. It just has to be voted on after.
Oh, okay. So moved.
Second.
Withdrawn as well.
Any discussion?
And Chair, just for the record, RE9 is being amended.
Noted for the record.
Yeah, as amended.
As amended. Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Against? Motion carries. Madam City Attorney, can you read into the record the SR items, please?
Oh, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. Are we gonna do RE4, get that out of
That's
the way?
right.
or-
You're gonna do that, you have to do it through SR first.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's correct. The SR4, that's correct. Sorry, I stand correct. That's why you're the chair. You're on the ball.
SR 1, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 62, Article 6 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended titled Zoning and Planning Fees, more particularly by amending Section 62-22 of the City Code titled Schedule of Fees, Section 6223 of the City Code titled Request for Review and Appeal, and Section 6225 of the City Code titled Waiver of Fees to provide clarification and updates on certain planning and zoning fees, to cap certain planning and zoning fees, and to provide clarification for refund of appeal fees, making findings containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR 2, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 62, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended titled Planning and Zoning in general, more specifically by adding Section 62-2.2 titled Independent Feasibility Impact Studies to require independent feasibility and economic impact studies by the City of Miami for certain new developments, creating a pool of qualified independent providers to conduct said studies that are selected on a competitive basis as provided herein, providing that the cost of the independent feasibility and economic impact be borne by the applicant requiring said study, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR 3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 10 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended titled Buildings, more particularly by creating a new Article 11 titled City-Wide Illumination Standards to extend the provisions of Section 8C-3 of the Miami-Dade County Code applicable within municipalities and related to providing lighting of open parking lots, areas underneath buildings, and alleys to public rights-of-way in the City of Miami as defined herein, providing for the building officials' enforcement of this article as required by the county code to be accomplished by the building officials designee, including but not limited to code compliance inspectors, providing for penalties for violation and waiver of applicable permit fees for certain existing structures, and expedited review in connection with compliance with these requirements, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR 4, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled General Provisions, more particularly by amending Section 1-16 of the City Code to allow alternate seals on limited occasions, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. So those are all the second reading ordinances. I believe that there may be that you received a, one second on, I have notes here on, there may be a possible amendment to SR2, just to clarify language. I need the, with regard to community effects, where I believe that Vice Chairman Russell wanted to add that little amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe that's the change. Since he had asked between first and second reading to talk about the negative effects language and all that, but it's community effects is what we're going to be placing. Is that fine, Vice Chairman? Is that what it was?
What?
That works.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Nobody, just 1 second. Nobody came to us. We didn't hear anything about it, and we have not received what does it mean by a community effects.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jordan. Here. Commissioner Martin.
Oh, if the chairman's not there, I'll
Yes.
The changes were specifically what was stated on the dais in the last meeting. I haven't specified any specific changes with the city attorney since then or in my briefings.
Okay.
So it probably should have showed up in the second reading, but she wants a clarification, which just says community impacts, which is actually even softer than the negative impacts that we had discussed last time. It certainly doesn't cross the threshold of disparate impact, which triggers the federal requirements.
Yes,
but what does that mean? What's community impacts?
Well, it's.
I mean, that's a broad term.
How do you quantify that?
Yeah.
It is broad, and that's why it originally wanted the disparate impact, because it gives a very set criteria that gives us a very specific feedback, but it triggers a lot of responsibilities as well. This is broad and it can be vague, but at least it gives us a picture of how a development will affect the community, and we can decide as a commission if that's a negative or a positive. But it's really meant to look at the potential.
That's included.
But that's so broad.
That's right.
That can have the effect of creating, additional legal impediments to development, and because it could capture a whole bunch of things. Community impacts could capture almost anything, and anyone can make the argument that, well, this is a community impact. Everything that we do has a community impact. Everything. So these legal impediments, we need to create jobs. We need to stimulate our economy.
Absolutely.
To develop responsibly and thoughtfully, but we need to develop.
What is it?
And we can't continue to place these impediments on development. So maybe the question is to our city attorney who came up with that term. What does that mean, Vicky?
It is whatever you think it means, basically.
It's what anybody thinks it means.
Right, but that's why you sit there as the policymakers and you determine when you look at this. If it does affect the community at all, it's everything
affects a community. Everything you do affects a community.
If I may, Commissioner, you see, when you say community, you have to really, set boundaries, because if there is a development that it is taking place in your district, and then I'm going to analyze how it's going to affect Flagami. And we're opening up the door. The group from Flagami said, well, this will have a negative impact on us. And then what we'll do exactly what Commissioner Gisela Portilla said, it will hold back and it will, impede the development to go forward. And that is not the intention of this. The intention of this is that we get a clear and true picture on how the area is going to be economically impacted and how it's going to affect existing businesses in the area and in the near area. For example, and only applies to those big projects. It's not that I'm going to build a 10, 12-story building, and I am going to need this study. It is in order for us to have a real to have information that it is real, because this is if all of you remember, we had instances like the Marlin Park, for example, that there was an economic study that convinced everybody that was going to be the eighth wonder of the world, because it was going to develop that area like no place ever had experienced any economic development like that, based on full premises. And it was the one that presented this was the economist from the developer. You see, what I want is an independent analysis that we can make a decision based on factual information. That's all I want. But it doesn't. I think that we cannot look at this beyond what it is. You see, is that clear? I would not accept that change of community just like that. You know?
And Mr. Chair, I wouldn't either. I know you have a motion, you want a motion for the whole set of SRs. But I wouldn't accept that amendment either. I wouldn't vote for that amendment.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. It's too broad. Too broad and it's too limited.
It is broad, right? So for instance, this thing says community as he's proposed. And I believe the language, we talked about it last time on the record, we were very disturbed as a board necessarily about the language that was being proposed because we thought that the language was too strict and it would cause concerns and limit the development because you would then have to meet that standard. If you didn't meet that standard, then you're going to find yourself being challenged. And so here, I don't read it as it being challenged, but more so stating what the community benefits are or the community effects are. And once you fulfill that, then essentially you continue moving forward. But I think it's just more of an acknowledgement. You know, those effects could be positive and those effects could be negative. You know, it's like saying when you implement a new law that we may propose, the good things could be that whatever reason that we've written this law for, those issues are solved. And the bad things could be that someone could be possibly arrested or punished or fined for those laws that we've created. You know, it's kind of like that's the thing that comes to my mind.
Mr. Chair, it might clarify that as it is, it measures community impact because it will measure the amount of jobs that is going to be created. You see, it measures the amount of it measures the real of the good. I mean, good numbers, if not to use only other word, that we can project the amount of taxes and contributions to the city and to the community. And as it is measuring the community impact. What I don't want to open up is a Pandora box that then somebody said, well, how this is it affects socially. And when you say community impact, it means everything. Socially, you see how many elders are going to be living here, and how this going to affect. I mean, you can take it. I mean, to animals and whatever. You see, I mean, when you have a term so broad, what you do is you create constraints. You see, and I don't want to create any constraints. I don't want a legislation that it is going to be used as a tool for us to determine if the project is feasible, if it's going to create jobs, if it's going to help the development of the area, and if it is going to be beneficial for the city of Miami, and it's going to get revenues for the city of Miami, real revenues, and then that we are going to expand it in a way that is going to be a constraint for development. I mean, that's not my intention. My intention is to get real numbers and to be clear when we vote that what we're voting for, we know because we are being properly advised of the benefits that development, and I repeat, it's not small development, that huge development, the benefits that it's going to bring to the city of Miami or the lack of it. You see, that's all.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you. I personally would like to know if there is affordable housing on that site at the moment, and by allowing the redevelopment, it's going to displace so many residents. These are types of things I'd want to know before making a decision, but we won't know that from economic impact or how many jobs are created. We're closing our eyes to the potential negative impacts on that community, which we should care about before making a decision. But my bigger question here is why we are discussing this in this moment, because this is not an amendment being placed today. This is an amendment that we voted on in the last meeting, and that amendment was accepted. And so the wording should already be contained in this legislation and not in the way that was mentioned by the city attorney. She changed the wording to community improvement.
So I need to clarify that. I need to clarify that.
I would like clarification on that.
Okay.
I'd like to understand why the amendment wasn't captured in the writing of this.
We said
So-
cost benefit analysis was the word that was used, and as I recall, that don't start shaking your head. The
Okay.
word that was used was cost benefit analysis.
I was
And, I'm glad you took off your mask, man. I mean, and in that analysis, it also takes into consideration the effect of positive or negative effect that it's going to have in housing, the cost of benefit, but in the surrounding areas, you see, in the study area, not so broad as community. You see, in the study area, there's going to be defined the study area that the effect that it's going to have of existing businesses, how much we're going to get, and all the things that could be positive or negative, but it's within the boundaries of the study area, not the community.
If I may, based on the request that was done at the last commission meeting, the language which is in the second paragraph of this ordinance says the city requires the applicant to provide an independent economic impact analysis that examines both positive and negative impacts as described herein. That was placed when we briefed. You advised, Vice Chairman, that you weren't totally comfortable with the language. So then we sent to you this additional language of community effects. And that's why I brought up that you wanted an amendment based on that. So if the original language between first and second that was described before about positive and negative impacts as described herein, if that is fine with you, then we don't have to add anything else. But then obviously it's all up to you, to the body.
Mr. Chairman.
You recognize, sir.
Thank you. I think there's a bit of miscommunication there. And so it sounds like what is in our agenda today is different than what was there on first reading based on the amendment that was accepted. Is that correct?
Oh.
Yes, the language.
Changed by you. No, it was changed by us.
Right. But
nobody came to us.
Yeah, we have to vote for it, Commissioner.
That's right.
Right, and you did.
No.
And you did it in the
We
first.
voted for the
first
language.
reading.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
So, Madam City Attorney, was an amendment made in first reading, which changed the language, which is now reflected in this here today.
Based on the discussion by the commission about adding the negative, the whole disparate language discussion that we had, that I said, no, please, not disparate impact. Based on that whole discussion that we had, the word negative impacts was the one that was described. And between first and second, it's added based on that discussion. That's what we added, and that's what's here before you today.
You're calling it a discussion. It was a technical amendment.
I would have to defer to Todd, the city clerk, to see if it was amended or if it was a first and second reading change.
So my understanding
it wasn't technical. Number one, it wasn't technical.
And that was rejected. I had a friendly amendment based on disparate impact, and that was rejected.
Correct.
And then we settled on a negative impact wording. I remember that people were texting, what does negative impact mean?
But
Right.
that is
No
what it
community
is.
benefits.
No community benefits.
impact.
No community impact.
That was never mentioned.
As long as what I had said, which was amended, which was voted on in the last meeting, is contained in this reading, I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's vote on it. That's what it is.
But you're clear that it is different than what was in the first reading.
Sir, yes, and what it make the difference is when you come up with now try to make it more populist, you see, community impact and all that. Okay, I mean, I feel for the community as much as you do, you see, but I mean, what we're dealing with here is with a legislation that is going to protect the people that live there, the people that have businesses, and the city and everybody. Okay.
That was sneaky Tallahassee technical amendment language. We used to do it up there all the time. You try to squeeze it in there at the last minute.
That's right.
A technical amendment. That's okay. Sometimes you get
that's fine. That's fine. That is fine. I do understand that, Commission. Okay.
As long as the original amendment is captured, I'm fine. Thank you.
It is. Okay.
Chair,
Yes,
Chair,
yes, you recognize.
I have a question. I know I discussed it a little bit last time on SR3. I know it's Commissioner Reyes' issue. And I asked yesterday during the briefing, who pays for the lighting? And I was told by Ms. Crespi, well, I wasn't told, Alex Barrera was told by Ms. Crespi that the landlord pays for it, not the tenant. But in my briefing yesterday, I was told that it could be that it's the person who has the lease, which normally is the tenant. And I still, because of the answer that I got yesterday, I want some sort of clarification. It doesn't only impact the 65 businesses in downtown that Ms. Crespi referenced, it's citywide. So it impacts businesses in all our districts. And that undue burden that I spoke about last time on tenants and small business owners and small cafeteria owners concerns me because of the difficult economic times we're going through right now. It may not be, I never got an answer because it was a late briefing last night, so maybe they didn't have time to get back to me. Or maybe they did. I haven't read all my emails. I had like 100 emails on the Dade Heritage House and all that stuff. So I haven't been able to go through all that. But that's an important part of this conversation, I think, Commissioner Reyes, because I don't want to have the husband and wife own cafeteria, little cafeteria, where all of a sudden they have to dish out, $1,000 or $800. To them, that could be the difference between staying open and closing.
I agree with you 100%. And the intention is that the property owner is the one that is responsible to maintain the proper conditions for safety, you see, around that area. And in order to do that, I mean, I try to help the property owner. We have waived all permits cost. You see, the only thing is that the installation of a couple of light bulbs or whatever it is, so that it is the area that it is more illuminated. Yeah, and you know that well-lit areas, they have the crime rate is lower. And you know that people, the criminals, they don't like to be where the well-lit areas are, and people feel more I say, safe. And I have seen this, I have witnessed this, and I don't know if you have also. Now that Florida Power and Light, it is changing the lighting on the streets from the old ones, that yellow light, to the LED lights. I have a lot of neighbors from different areas in my district that they are walking down and they're telling me, I say, thank you for changing it. As if I was the one that changed it. But thank you for changing all the lighting. Now, I had a neighbor said this. She said she lived in Auburndale and she walks all the way to exercise, all the way to Colgate, because it is so well lit that she's not afraid anymore, you see? And the intent behind this ordinance is to provide more illumination and to provide more safety. I agree with you, the mom and pop, they are not responsible for the lighting. They are paying rent. And the business owner, the tenant doesn't have to pay. It is the landlord. And I think that what we should do is also, now when we pass this, give them time, you see, within a certain time, not that they have to do it and comply, but they will get, 6 months, we think the next year, whatever. You see, work with them and in order for not to burden them that much, and try to help them as much as we can. In downtown Miami, what we're going to do is we are working on providing funds to the owners, so they can, they will expedite the change of illumination, or they add the illumination in that area. That's it. And I agree with you. It is not the tenants. And that concern is very well taken, and I have it. And I really, if you want, can we? We have to include it in the ordinance that responsibility falls on the landowner. The landlord. That would clarify it more, in my opinion. What do you think?
I would like to have that, if you don't mind, Commissioner.
No, I don't mind. I just propose it and I will accept it.
I will propose that amendment for SR
It
three,
is accepted.
that the responsibility falls on the landlord, not on the tenant.
Absolutely.
So is there a motion to approve the SR agenda with, of course, with that?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moving second. Any further discussion on the SR agenda? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against?
For the record, SR3 was amended.
Yes.
All right, let's move backwards. Let's go to PH4, the Dade Heritage Trust item.
I'll move it.
You probably moved. Is there a second?
That's a good.
It's been seconded. In discussion.
Wait, I'm sorry, Chair. Who was the seconder?
Commissioner Carrillo.
I'm sorry, we're talking about the Heritage Trust?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The, I've asked for information that I haven't gotten fully yet. I'm still going through it, what I've gotten late last night after my briefing. Because some of you might know what this organization is all about. I don't know as much on it. I don't know how many of the people that are involved with it live in the city of Miami. I don't know what projects they got involved in. Where's a lot of their funding coming from? What I do know is that they seem to be a general county-wide organization. Therefore, I think the county should be the one that puts the monies out for whatever this organization needs. Now, I know that we've been gracious and we've been letting them use this house here and be part of it. But the question is that the best use that we can make of that property? Is that the best and highest use? Now, there were questions on what we could build there. I met through my briefings with staff when we went through this item yesterday, late in the afternoon. And we could build something there. It's limited because the lot is going to be smaller considerably than I was originally told because of setbacks. But even with those setbacks, since we are the ones that can control that, we don't have to make it as strict as we have. And then you could build something that's more reasonable, an 8-story building. That towards the front would be 20, towards the middle of the building would be 50 wide. If that's what we want to do. But on the other hand, if we don't want to build anything there, if there's one area of Miami that is in need of pocket park, it's that area. I can tell you that every other person that lives in an apartment there has a dog. And that could certainly become the most used dog park in the whole city. So I have questions on what's the best use of it is. And this has come up in particularly when we've been requested to give this property up for I don't know how many years it is. It's some 90 years or 99 years or something to the effect for what is practically for free. Now, you look at Miami, 70% of all the nonprofits in the county, they're in the city of Miami. We are losing a tremendous amount of revenue every year that people don't pay in taxes because we're taking all the nonprofits that provide service for the whole county. And the county doesn't reimburse us for that. We don't spread them around proportionally, where then we would only have to have 18% instead of that 70% of all the nonprofits. And imagine if we had all that money that the nonprofits don't pay in additional taxes. We wouldn't be, even with COVID-19, in the situation we are today. So what I'm saying is that more than ever now, we have to look at the properties that we own differently. Stop giving everything away to every so-called nonprofit or others, just because they're connected. There's a lot of use, a lot better use that we could have in this property. And I'm not saying that we want to keep the house. On the contrary, as I said before, they can keep the house. We could try to help them with the county, find another location for it. But that location is a very valuable location, any which way you cut it. And this is my opinion anyway.
Mr. Chairman? Thank you, Commissioner. And I certainly understand where you're coming from, trying to look out for the bottom line of the city. It is important. I am listening to my residents as the commissioner of the district, and they are saying loud and clear that they'd love us to keep this as a historic structure. They do have a lot of landscaping around it, and they are a dog-friendly, welcome butterfly garden in the front, and it is well used. But nobody in the hours of advocacy we just listened to was asking us to sell it or create something different. Every single call that was brought in, and it was asking us to keep it as it is, the original office of Dr. James Jackson, after which Jackson Health System was named. It's one of the last remaining small, quaint, charming structures in Brickell, and that says something. It is important. As I said before, I'm open to assessing the value of what can be built there. I've been told with its current setbacks, you couldn't even build the building that's there. It's grandfathered non-conforming. The costs to move it and the risk to the structure have not yet been told to me. I don't know that. But beyond that, I do believe it's worth leaving there. Dade Heritage Trust does a lot of work, mostly in the city of Miami. And recognizing our needs, they've combined their mission not only for historic preservation, but also affordable housing. And one of their projects is in your district, where they used grant funds to purchase a 1920s Art Deco building, or in 1930s, and they're renovating and remodeling and preserving the entire thing for affordable housing. And everyone who lives there will pay $800 to $1,000 a month to stay there. And so that was their goal: not only preserve housing, but preserve a community as well.
What does that have to do with that location?
You asked about what their mission is and not being sure about exactly what they do or whether it's in the county or in the city.
Well, you're telling me one area that they're doing something in.
Yeah.
What I am saying, look, is that, and you know, I know that you're telling me that people spoke. The vast majority of those people don't live in the city of Miami. I'd be happy to put this up for a referendum in the next election, if you like, and see what the real Miamians think. Those that don't have anybody to lobby for them, those that don't live in Coral Gables or Pinecrest or Aventura or, you know, some other part of Miami-Dade County, the real Miamians, the ones that don't know where their next paycheck is coming from to pay their rent, or they're behind in their mortgage because they lost their job in COVID-19. So all that I'm asking is, and that this not be approved. Why all of a sudden did they come and they want this grab bag, 90 plus years for them to have this at $600 a month, every month for the rest of the 90 plus years that they're asking for?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask the clerk if he could walk us through the timeline of when this originally came to the commission, who voted to put this on the ballot, when it was placed on a municipal ballot, and what the vote percentage was of what the voters decided with regard to whether or not we should offer a lease of 99 years to the Dade Heritage Trust for this address.
Chair, I'll need a few minutes to find that information. I do not have it readily available.
Thank you. I think it is crucial because that's exactly what Commissioner Correa is asking. What would the voters say if they were asked? And I believe they have been, and I think we should listen to them.
Anyway, I'd like to have this item deferred. Commissioner, I'm not ready to give more property away.
I understand.
If it was up to you, we'd give the whole city away. And I'm fed up with this.
You don't need to speak for me. I'm not trying to give anything away.
Well, you are, sir.
Put it on together to put this on the ballot, and then the ballot.
Even on this piece of property in your own district, for your voters, your residents in District 2, you can't tell me that we don't need a dog park tremendously in that area. We do. Now, I don't know what is so great that they have to be there in that house, and that house can't be moved somewhere else. Like, you want to find out? Well, let's find out what it costs to move it somewhere else. But it certainly could be moved. Why does it have to be there?
That's a good question.
Why can't it be opened up all the time so that residents of Miami could go through, be part of the museum? Maybe we could put it up in next to the museum road. Put it between the two big museums. They got land that we gave them left.
I understand, and we may agree, we may disagree on this, but once the clerk has the information for us, I've got the information I need to vote. And
you might, I'm asking for a deferral on this until we can get additional information of the cost and possible locations where this could be moved at.
Through the chair.
You recognize, sir?
I think it's a right, reasonable request from Commissioner Carollo, because this is not the first time that the city of Miami have moved a historic building from one place to the other. I remember years back, we moved first Miami High, a little shack, moved it to a park, and the land was used for something else. The still is standing, and we are not, for what I gather, Commissioner Carollo, it's not asking for the demolishing of this property. This building is just to move it to another place, and this land could be find out. We don't know yet if this could have this land where the building is now could have a better use, and at the same time we keep the structure in another place, which is it's logical what it proposes. It is not illogical that it be around the museums that we have now on the museum road. It makes sense. I would like to further investigate this too.
Mr. Chairman.
You recognize.
Thank you. I'm very interested in where you are on it, Commissioner Reyes. The DDA has a visitor center there, and the DDA invests $25,000 a year in that center. It's even though it's a lease to the Data Heritage Trust, it's a City of Miami asset. It's ours, and it will remain ours. It's a Miami historic structure. It's designated, and it's ours. But we they've worked with all the different groups, including the city, the DDA, to invest in it. So I am interested in where you are on this as well as the chair of the DDA.
Yes, as the chair. Listen, I'm the chair of the DDA, and I'm also seated Miami Commission, and I don't make mistakes. Okay, what I'm saying is, if we have DDA has, it contributes with the Heritage Trust, that is fine. It's not going to stop. You see, it's not going to stop. Why cannot we analyze if we can do it or not? Why? Why not? Why not if it's better use? But you're trying to corner me into by being a chairman of the DDA as if I was going to go against the DDA. No, sir. No, sir. I'm not going. I'm not doing anything to harm or to curtail any of the good things that the DDA is doing. You see, and the partnership that we have with the Heritage Trust. No. What I'm saying is, it is a very logical question. You see, Commissioner Carollo is, he mentioned that as something that I never thought about. Why this cannot be a park? There is a lot of you know that area is full of residents, and there's not a single park around there. You see, we are not destroying the building or the trust. It's just a matter of just moving it and have better use. Why don't we analyze that? It's just an analysis. And if we decide that it should stay there, we'll stay there. You see, all the pros and all the cons. What I'm trying to be reasonable, and I'm being pragmatic about it. You see? It's not that we're going to be affecting the Heritage Trust, and we are going to be eliminating it or anything, or we are going to be demolishing this building. I just remind Commissioner Carollo, because he must remember that I would say about 20 years or more, that the same argument took place about the little shack that was the first high school in Miami, which was Miami High, that's what they call it, and it was moved from one place to the other. And it never lost its integrity, never lost the historic designation, and it never lost its importance.
And it's in Southside Park right now.
Yes, it is in Southside Park. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And we had the same argument. We are not destroying. As a matter of fact, when we moved it, that the city moved it, when the city moved it, I was co-chair of the neighborhood bonds, defense bonds, that board, and we provided funds to refurbish the whole shop. You see, and we had the same argument before, and the land was used for something else, and the shack's still there, and it's still a historic place. See, that's the only thing they said. Why don't we analyze that? Why?
Look, Commissioner, you're absolutely correct. We're not kicking them out tomorrow. We're not setting the building on fire. All that we're saying is we're not ready to give this away for 90 plus years. And we're going to leave the status quo until we look into it further.
Is there any possibility that the amount of years could be reduced so that we give true adequate attention to how much we should research the property should be? So say, for instance, if they had a 5-year lease and then we continue that discussion, because the only thing that I'm fearful of is if, because I thought from last meeting to this meeting, we were supposed to be looking into some of the things. And so if this thing gets continued to be pushed on and on and on and on, and it kind of puts them in a limbo. And so I'd rather them have some defined message from us about how much time they have, at least until we talk about other options.
Yeah.
And an option could be to remain there, but at least for a certain number of years that they can engage in this conversation with the city commission.
Well, I don't see why we have to give any long lease at all. It's our land. They should be perfectly content if they're allowed to stay there in a year-to-year lease. I don't know what they have now, or when this lease is up, if it's not up already. But I think it's pretty outrageous for them to want 90 plus years and the same $600, whether it's today, which is a joke, but it's going to be even more of a joke 90 plus years from now, when none of us will be around, none of our kids will be around.
Talk about yourself, it might be around.
With the new medicine that Donald Trump is coming,
might be around.
It might be medicine that really keep us alive for a very long time. So, I look forward to everything.
It's done good for him, so you better, look at it closer, sir. if you get the big C, you might want to give him a call.
You mean cash?
You might think of cash all the time. I'm thinking of the coronavirus.
Oh, okay. See, the C that I normally think about that wakes me up.
You're in the campaign mood now. I know.
The C that wakes me up in the middle of the smile is Carollo. It's always
The big C.
That's right.
The big C is Cororio.
That's right, a big C. Commissioner, I want to address that your last comment on a year to year. I don't think it's fair either if we're going to let them stay there, not let them stay on a year to year basis, and because that creates an uncertainty. You see, that is not necessary. If we agree on shortening the lease terms, but then not year to year, because that creates uncertainty. That people needs time. If we decide, or the future commissioners that decide that they have to move, then they will have not enough time to find a place or whatever. You see, but year to year, I want to agree with.
Well, Commissioner, what I am tired of seeing is that some of us talk all the time about the people, and any bunch of elitists that come around, boy, we can't help but just to pupper up, and see where we kiss them. And this is what I'm seeing here again. There's no reason in the world why we should enter with them for that reason, anybody, for $600 a month for the next 90 plus years. Someone just contacted me right now. I got to laugh. And another nonprofit that we have in the community, very well known, and they're willing to come in and pay more for if it's $600 a year, so they'll do better than that and come in and preserve the house. So I mean, look, what I've asked is something that I think is extremely reasonable. They're not going to be effective. We're not throwing them out the door. The house is going to be there. We need to look more into this, how much it would cost to move it, possibly look at locations, and the county's got to get involved with money. I'm tired that the city is the dumping ground for every nonprofit, for every wonderful pillar idea of the community that someone came up with. And we keep losing our most valuable lands. And our neighborhoods, the vast majority of neighborhoods and people in the city of Miami keep getting poorer, and they have no voice.
Commissioner, if I may suggest, I think that if we are going to further the analysis, I would like to also include in the analysis the potential uses and I mean, what would be the best use for this land? And if it doesn't make any sense moving it or anything, because we don't have any alternatives, it's just more for a park, or the analysis, or nobody wants to use this land, we don't have any takers. Well, then we take this, and we are, what we do is we renegotiate. Okay. Negotiate the time, we can negotiate the time, the rent, and all of that.
We could make it into a museum. Whether you know it or not, or realize the city of Miami has some very, very valuable pieces of art that were given to us.
Yes.
That they're in storage right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about paintings that could be worth to the hundreds of thousands. So that could be a museum where it could be open up to everybody, not just to the few people in the Heritage Trust to come in there. I mean, why does that have to be their office or anybody's else's office or any 501c3 to have it as their office? what right do they have to be the only ones that could be there? But what you stated, Commissioner, absolutely should be part of the analysis that we do. What is the best use that we could do it? And there's many uses that we can come up with. I mentioned at one extreme, even a dog park, but it could also be a playground. Unfortunately, it's too small to have a playground and a dog park, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone could figure that one out. But one thing I think we all can agree on, that whole area there, with all the huge buildings that we have and no parks, there's a tremendous need for parks, whether for dogs, whether for kids, and having a playground, or if we could find another way that might make more sense and it might bring some real dollars to the city of Miami. I don't know.
There is no green area around that area.
None.
None whatsoever. There's no green. So
my motion is that we defer this for the next meeting in January, and have the administration have this time to look into the areas that I mentioned and you suggested, Commissioner.
That's right. And
I'll second that.
Okay.
Properly moved and seconded. Vice Chairman, your recognized.
Yes, thank you. Just a question for the city attorney with regard to the charter amendment that was voted on by the electorate. How would a change affect that charter amendment, and what needs to be done there?
When you say a change, to be able to move it, is that what you're asking?
No, and I'm still waiting for the answer from the clerk on exactly what was voted on and when, and what that changed. So maybe you can help us. This was a charter amendment.
Okay. So, right, so the language reads, shall the Miami Charter be amended to authorize the city commission by a 4/5 affirmative vote to waive competitive bidding and execute a lease with Dade Heritage Trust for the city-owned building. So not necessarily it says the city-owned building and the land but for the city-owned building located at 190 Southeast 12th Terrace for a term of 30 years with 2 30-year renewals and all that. So what's contemplated for it to be moved elsewhere is a possibility based on, as long as you enter into, obviously you have to approve it, but for it to enter into a lease because it's a city-owned building. So that's a possibility. You can move it elsewhere. And then you're asking, I received a copy of all the votes, but the yes, which I'm sure the clerk has already, but it's 57,068 votes for and 46,886 votes against.
So
is that what you were asking? I'm sorry.
Basically, so 55% of the voters said yes, that we should do this. And it did amend the charter though, correct? This is now in our charter.
Right. So it is a charter carve out, but it's permissive.
Got it. So I'm just trying to understand the motivation, because we did go through a very thorough process. This came to the commission. We voted the terms and everything, and then to put it on the ballot, the voters said yes. At the last commission meeting, the idea was that we have a financial crisis right now, so we need to sell this land and make money. And then we did an analysis, and obviously it's not very developable based on setbacks, et cetera. And so now we're talking about making it a dog park or even a museum. It does have park elements to it. I think if we wanted to, we could even rezone it CS. People can enter the garden. They can bring their dogs. That exists already. It is a museum. People can come in. It's a DDA welcome center, but we're still saying no. So I'm just not fully sure, because if it's not about the money at this point, it's about not giving them the long-term rights to this. And even the voters said yes, so I feel like that's been covered as well. So I'm just not fully understanding what the motivation is.
Chairman.
Recognize, sir.
Thank you. So there's a motion by Commissioner Carollo, right? And I second the motion to defer this item. So I need to ask, before we do this, I need to ask the city attorney, what happens if we just defeat this today?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Defeated today, as in just not enter into a lease, not allow it.
Correct.
That's your prerogative as well. But it's
vis-a-vis the referendum.
I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's a legal question. It's not your analysis of our powers.
I thought you were asking if that could be done. Yes, it could be done today. With respect to it's still, the charter is still amended. So let's say this commission says no today, tomorrow or next month, the next commission can say yes. So unless you re-amend the charter, it's still there.
Right, because this commission never said yes. This commission didn't do any of this.
No, I'm saying about your obviously.
I'm sorry. When did this go before the voters?
2016.
Okay, this commission.
2016.
So Commissioner Carollo wasn't here. Commissioner Reyes wasn't here. I wasn't here. City manager wasn't here. I think only Chairman Hardiman and Commissioner Russell were here. So the majority of this commission didn't do any of this, right? The referendum, placing on the ballot, all that stuff. And 2016 is very different than 2020. We know what 2020 has brought us, right? Different economic circumstances, a reshuffling of our priorities, right? A rightful reshuffling. And so we have to deal with what existing circumstances are today. And then we have to take it back to the voters and go through that process. I don't know, we have to. So the legal question is, what happens if we say we'll vote this down today instead of deferring? Just for argument's sake. I'm not saying.
But that's why
motion.
I was just clarifying.
Okay.
You voted down today. It's voted down, but the charter amendment is still there. So a future commission can award.
We voted down today. What can we do next commission meeting? Not a future commission, this commission.
If this commission votes it down, if the charter language is still there and it's still permissive, in the future it could be done. Right. The lease could be done unless you vote to change the charter again, then it's
But I'm not understanding, is the lease for that location or is the lease for the company or the entity?
It is a lease for Dade Heritage Trust for the city-owned building at the location. So you can.
So we take that building and put it in Alpata.
Correct.
Right?
That could happen. You could do that.
Did the charter amendment specify the amount of money in the lease?
It said for a minimum annual rent of $600 with a consumer price index adjustments.
It's a floor, not a ceiling.
Correct.
So we could say it's $20,000, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Within the parameters of the charter amendment.
Yes.
Can I get some clarity too, Madam City Attorney? Because in the reso, it does list the address. Are you sure that the address is irrelevant? It needs to be clear.
I mean,
right. So again,
the address is like the location. It's not like it's the folio number.
Right. It didn't say, to be abundantly clear.
Yeah.
It doesn't say city-owned building and land. It doesn't say that.
So the address is just referencing the location of the building.
Of the city-owned building. You can take, you can take that, if that is the will of this commission to do that, that could be done, to put it somewhere else.
Okay, we've been through this, and there is a motion, and there is a second, and I would like that to include in all the analysis that is going to be made, that the legality of us going against the voters and or the question that was placed in the ballot. If we have any, we are opening ourselves into any legal action. I mean, just look into every single possibility And the best use for it, if there is not a best use of the amount of rent, that if we could increase the amount of rent, as Mr. Diaz de la Portilla said, and if it is feasible to move it and create a park there or whatever. That's it. Let's be fair and analyze every single aspect of it, so we cover all the bases.
So for purposes of the resolution, if I may, can when we're done with the discussion, can somebody sort of sum it all up for me so that I know exactly what our charge is as we move away from this item, so I know exactly what the administration's been requested to do, so we're prepared to come back to the commission?
And if we find in our analysis that the best thing that we can do is leave it there and require that be a park, you see, then that be it. You see, I want to analyze it, thoroughly analyze all the possibilities that we have.
On Commissioner Carollo's motion, Commissioner, you wanted to defer it till January. Is there a reason that you have for that day instead of November 19th?
Well, the reason I'm saying January, so there's plenty of time for the administration to deal with that. I mean, this is not, I don't think, a priority out of all the things that we have to deal with. In fact, even January might be too soon. But January, it gives the administration some 90, 100 days at least to be able to sort out all the things that we put in the record that I put down, Commissioner Reyes put down. For instance, I'd like to see exactly, based on what we could build there. And I don't want to hear all these setbacks, because we decide what setbacks we're going to have. We could cut all the setbacks because of the particulars of the location to half of what they should be. Then I want to see from planning, what is the total square footage that we could build there? It's going to be at least 8 stories. It'll be an irregular building because it's an irregular lot. I want to see what other usages can we have, including park for a dog park or playground. If somehow we could combine both, which I think will be hard, but maybe I'm wrong. They could show me something that there'll be a way of putting both. What Commissioner Reyes said, leaving the building there, making a park, other uses for that building that would be best, that would bring more people to it. That whole area doesn't have any prime community gathering area either for the city, for the residents, like we have in Shenandoah, Commissioner, in your district, like I have in mine on 12th Avenue. There's none. Last but not least, we want to see the cost of moving that building. What potential sites do we have that it could be moved to? So these are all the things that we want to see, Mr. Manager. I think that gives you a lot, and you could sit with each of the members of the commission that they could give you additional impact, maybe of what they would like to see done. But you know, you've been around a long time. I think you've heard enough from all of us and what we want the administration to do to come back with information for us. And I have no problem in putting this up, if we need to, in November of next year again. And I'll put my face to it and I'll campaign for whatever I put in the ballot. I don't know how this could have gotten passed in the ballot back in 2016, how it was sold, what people were told, but this is 20. And I mean, aren't you one of the guys that's saying, Commissioner, that we should wait for the next election before the Supreme Court nominee is named? Well, we should wait for the next election too, before we decide what to do with this, maybe.
Mr. Chair.
Recognized.
Just for clarification, Commissioner Russell, if I remember correctly, unfortunately I'm cursed and blessed with a good memory. Wasn't this building moved from somewhere else here in the 1990s?
Sorry, about 75 years ago it was moved.
Oh, it was in the 1990s?
Might have been in the 1914 or 1910.
Are you sure?
We can get an answer on that.
Yeah, because I believe that building was moved during my lifetime, and I was born a little bit after 1914. But I think Commissioner Reyes may remember better than I can.
I saw it coming.
I saw it coming. I telegraphed it. But I do know it was moved. So this wouldn't be the first time we move a building, right? That land, because obviously downtown Miami is not what it was in 1914, if it was in fact in 1914. There's a place and a time for everything in life. And to move the building, as long as we preserve its history and what the role that it plays, is not the end of the world. But I want the manager to look at the history of the building and actually look at other buildings that have been moved. Sometimes we get so tied to an idea and we think that it has to be this idea and it has to be there. But it wasn't there before. So, what's historical about it? We move it. The history is what's in the building, right? It's not in the area. I understand that neighbors may not want it because they don't want their views blocked and all that, but we need, the land can be developed or it could be a doggy park or whatever this commission decides, because I'm a big fan of dogs, as is Commissioner Reyes too, I believe.
Yes.
I would love to have a doggy park in there. I think the neighbors would love to have a doggy park, but if it can be developed, it can be developed. And so those options are what we have to have. And I agree with Commissioner Carollo. We have to look at all possibilities. We can't look at what happened in 2016. How was it sold? We know what happens with referendums. The people with money or the people with interest in the outcome pour more money into the race. It's a different time. 2020 is not 2016. We have different needs, dramatically different needs now. And we have to reprioritize things. So I agree with Commissioner Carollo. We'll take it to next year, the beginning of next year, because that gives a manager an opportunity to look at research and see all the options that are available to us. It does require a 4/5 vote anyway. So we're going to have to, whether we like it or not, we're going to have to find common ground.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Commissioner Hardeman won't be here, but maybe someone else will, that we can find common ground there. And maybe Commissioner Russell can be more flexible. It is your district, but it is something that belongs to all of us in Miami, not only to your district. So it's important, that we preserve it, I think. Not necessarily there.
Understood. And to answer your question, it was moved 103 years ago.
Okay.
And it was in the location of where...
Is that true, Commissioner Reyes?
No, I don't think that's right. I don't remember that move.
I think you were born a little after that.
No, I don't remember that.
I think Commissioner Russell answered one of our questions. If it was moved and it didn't fall apart 103 years ago, today, with all the technology that we have, it's a breeze.
That's right.
I mean, look at Lumnes Park.
Where the Olympic Theater now
in Lumnes Park, we got Fort Dallas and all these other buildings. They've been moved. They were put there. So it's not the first time.
A request to the city manager with regard to the analysis that you're doing. So if this isn't for sale for development, but rather for the building of a park ourselves, obviously the relocation of this building will be on our dime at this current financial crisis. So I would like an analysis of exactly what it would cost to move it within a mile radius of its current location.
Well, not necessarily, Commissioner, because if they're doing all the work for the county, they're the ones that are wanting it, then the county should step up. Maybe the county would want to put it in one of their sites. I would have no problem in doing that if that's what they would like to do. They have a lot of land, a lot more than we do. But if in the analysis, if the city manager can provide to us, how many times has this building been moved? Has it been once? Has it been twice? And, what were the years when it was moved?
Mr. Chair, and let me correct this, that if we decide, because I said probably the best use would be to make it a park, open it up, or leave the building there and open it up to everybody, you see, so people can come and and meet and we add some amenities to it, fine, let it be it. But if we decide to move it, it doesn't mean that we have to do it next month. You see, means that we have to do it even next year. You see, when with the city of Miami, the finances come whole, and also people that want to preserve this building, they could also, I think that they will contribute. You see, because there some funds from historical organizations, they should provide some funds so that we can move it also, if that it is the decision. You see. That is that we decide. And in order for us to know what we could do with that building, we have to make an analysis, a thorough analysis of things that we could do and how we're going to benefit. We need to take into consideration the fact that there is no green space in that area. There is a lot of residents there. There's a lot of children in that area now, and there is no green space whatsoever around them. You see? There's no green space. I mean, I'm inclined into saving that green space, you see, saving it as a park or as a place that could be used by that community that has, that's growing in Brick 11.
Commissioner, within a quarter mile of that is Simpson Park, Southside Park, Brickell 18.
It's a quarter mile, sir, but it's not across the street. It's not across the street from all those
parks within a quarter mile of this spot.
Okay. Well, then we're not going to build any more parks in your district because I have, for example, I'm building a dog park on 22nd Avenue.
I'd love to help you.
Okay.
I want to build one too. I'm surprised that Commissioner Russell doesn't want more parks.
Doesn't want more parks, more green space.
That shocked me.
You're always telling me I have too many parks in my district, and now you want to knock down a historic structure to build another one.
No. We don't want to knock down that structure. We want to move it if it is possible.
You can never have too many parks.
Absolutely not.
But if you think you have too many parks in your district, then I understand. But I think the idea of a doggy park is a good thing. I think that a lot of residents in that area, I know they have dogs, and they would love to have a little doggy park there. If you think that maybe a historic building that can be moved is more important than a doggy park, that's obviously it's your district, your priority.
Absolutely.
And your
it acts as a doggy park now. I'll bring my dog, you bring your dog, we'll come and hang out, and we can actually walk through there because anyone's welcome.
My dog is a Republican, though.
We'll get along with yours.
And he's big.
My dog.
Who's your dog? You have a little dog, right, Commissioner Russell? You have a big dog?
Big. Okay. 2 of them. I'll bring them both.
Okay. Oh my God, you're going to gang up on yours.
I think we figured out a way to settle this.
Okay.
I've been thinking about getting me a new dog. I had one before. His name was Cachaça. This particular
Tell
breed.
me what you're going to name, Commissioner. Tell me what you're going to name your new dog.
Cachaça too. You might ask your wife about this breed, Commissioner, since it's from Brazil. They're called Fila Brasileira.
Yes, that's a huge dog.
Yeah, they're huge.
Not too big. They're small.
Oh yes, they're big and strong and mean too.
And my first Cachaça was 6 foot tall. When you lifted him up,
that's right.
225 pounds.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's right. Yes, they are huge.
Beautiful red dog.
I always picture you, Commissioner Carollo, like a little dog.
Yes, like a poodle.
Like a little poodle. I always imagine it that way. I don't know why.
You're right. You're right, but you know.
Because you're a softy. I know that deep down inside you're a softy. I know.
Yeah, I outgrew them. But I do have a rat terrier. They're small.
Oh, the rat terriers they are very smart and they are very good dogs. I had one back when I was a kid in Cuba.
If you guys would let me, I'd bring them to City Hall. I think,
absolutely.
We do quite well here.
No problem with me, man.
Absolutely.
No problem with me.
It's an American breed, by the way.
Doggy to work.
It is.
To clarify, there's a motion on the floor. Is the motion for continuance to the January meeting?
I second that motion.
That was the motion, right?
That was the motion, and I was second by,
Right.
And that'll be the January 14th, 2021 City Commission meeting.
That'll be fine.
And just just to solve this on readiness that I have, what's their current agreement, Madam City Attorney? Do we know the current lease agreement?
A revocable license agreement?
Okay, so how is it a time period? Is it expired, or is it like?
It's a revocable license that we can revoke at any time, or it goes month to month.
Okay, so right now we're on month to month, or is it just this open?
No, it's a revocable license agreement until it's revoked.
Exactly.
So you could just
You have a license to be there. Nothing's different. It's the status quo.
Correct.
Status quo is what I said before. And they haven't had all these years any problems being under a revocable license. I don't know what what's the itch now that they got.
All right, so all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Chair, I just want to make sure, is that 5-0?
It appears to be yes.
yes.
Okay, and just before we close for the lunch break, RE4, can I have a motion to approve RE4? Is there a motion to approve RE4?
So moved.
So moved, seconded by the chair.
Hold on. RE4?
We've already passed the SR4 that deals with
Yes.
Right, but what? You're talking about RE4.
RE4, correct.
Let me go to this. I gotta.
The
What is that?
alternate seals. The alternate seals resolution.
RE4. Okay, let Commissioner Reyes, you had some concerns that you
Yes, I did.
expressed the last time, and look,
I did.
let me say this: the mayor has been certainly with me extremely upfront, transparent this whole thing when he first came to me and explained it. Frankly, it's my fault that I should have paid more attention to what he was telling me at the time and looked at the seals. I don't have any problems with different color schemes that we approve for different times and different projects. But where I started getting a little shaky in this was when I saw one of the seals that I was shown yesterday by staff. And that's when I started getting concerned. It was a total different palm tree than the one we have on the look. In fact, I kind of joked, but I was halfway serious that it looked like a marijuana plant because of the way the palm tree was made. But the shape of that seal. That's what we saw about Miami, since we became a city. My concern is that if we start changing the looks of it, we're going to lose our identity. I mean, who are we going to be then? It's one thing on the color scheme. We could play with that from time to time.
Absolutely.
But when we start changing the actual seal, I do have some concern with that. And I spoke to the mayor about it. We spoke this morning, and I think he will be okay with just approving the color scheme. But, this is not one of those that I'm going to draw the line in the sand. I'm just expressing my opinion, and I expressed it to the mayor, who, again, I'll repeat, was upfront and transparent on this from day one.
Mr. Commissioner, you're lucky, very lucky, and you're privileged that the mayor came to you and explained it. I don't know if I am in a doghouse with the mayor because he never had the courtesy of calling me and explaining that we are not going to change it. That my concern is, and I made my concern very clear now before you came in, that the original seal will be it will be our seal. You can change the color, but original palm tree, the original seal will be, and for every one of our, as it is now, it is painted in all our vehicles. It is, and all our stationery has that seal. That shouldn't be changed. Now, for special events and all of that, you want to use it. You want to give it a little change, but basically the seal is going to be the same, and that's what I want. See, because that is our identity. It is branding. You never see Chevrolet change the logo. You never see, have you ever watched any of these huge companies change the logo? No. This is what we are known, what we are known for.
A number of people.
And we are not going to, I am concerned about it. And Mayor didn't come and talk to me because I would have told him straight to his face. You see, I don't mind if you want to make it a darker color or whatever. But I don't, and this is my concern. And I stated that before you came in, and I was assured that the seal is the same. We are not going to change the seal in our official stationaries or on our vehicles and all of that. Besides, that will be an expense that at this time we cannot incur. Now, if you, as a commissioner, that this allows you to have a different seal for that. This is Commissioner Carollo's. I don't agree with it, but I might go along with it because I think that we should be known. We have only one logo, and then there is one. It's one seal. You see, that's but I can go as far as that. And I repeat, you are privileged because I never could understand the intent and the reason behind this. Never.
Let me just say something else too. We have a lot of cities, not just in Miami-Dade County, but in other parts of the state that use different forms of coconut trees or palm trees in their seal. So that's another concern that I would have, that people are used to seeing the seal that we have now.
Absolutely.
And if we start changing it, that could become confusing. And they might not even know if this is the city of Miami or somewhere else.
But somewhere else, you're absolutely right.
That's my opinion. If a majority thinks different, this is one. I'm not going to draw the line in the sand. I just express my opinion. I would prefer if we just approve the color scheme that it could come before us and we approve different color schemes, but keep it within the seal that we have now.
Keep it within the shape of our palm tree. Our palm tree, that's the official seal.
With that, with the name and everything else that we have.
That's right.
For clarification, this is not change our official seal, correct, manager? This simply gives an alternative, creates an alternative seal. Any one of us can do that, right? If we choose to down the line.
Correct.
Create an alternative seal that may fit a particular occasion or a particular moment, an art festival or something that maybe we want to change our seal just to fit into that scheme.
Yes.
But our official seal does not change in any cars and any of our official correspondence and any of the official city buildings. None of that. That doesn't happen, correct?
The city's official seal is the city's official seal, and any future seal alterations or modifications for events or special purposes would need to come to the commission.
Like a football team could change it, go back to 1972 colors or use its old uniforms and use alternative just to fit the occasion or anniversaries or things of that nature. That gives us more flexibility. So I'm not opposed to it for that reason. We had a totally different conversation and we're talking about our official seal.
That's my problem.
But if it's not our official seal, it's just an alternative seal that we can use for, a festival that we have, a film festival or something. Maybe, it can fit that occasion and make it more contemporary. I like modern things and things that fit the occasion. So I don't see a problem with it from my perspective.
The only problem that I see, excuse me, Commissioner, is when we change the shape of a palm tree. We changed it completely, and that doesn't look like it looks like a marijuana plant, as the commissioner said, or a mango tree.
My dad has a nursery business. We have like 17 different kind of palm trees.
That's right.
Which palm tree dominates? Palmetto. I mean, we don't know.
That's right. But we have one that it is our official seal. We think that constraint, you can paint any color you want, but that's what I'm saying.
Commissioner Diaz is dancing around the subject.
Yes.
Just the different palm trees the father has, but what he doesn't say to you is the one that he's got a real conflict of interest with, that he wants to. I can see it through his eyes. I see it. The one that he wants to use. He wants to put a mamey tree.
That's right. That's right. That's why
he wants to put a mamey tree in his seal.
That is why he agrees with changing it.
I have the right. I have the right. Like every commissioner on this day is. And I have the right to have my own seal. So if I want a mamey tree, I put it in my mamey tree.
That's right.
But then I need your votes for it. That's the only thing. I think Commissioner Reyes would vote for a mamey tree seal.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Did the mayor add anything to the conversation?
So, I mean, but seriously, I have no issue with an alternative seal.
As long as
it's clear, crystal clear, that we're not changing our official seal, that our official seal remains our official seal.
That was my question and my
no
concern.
problem with that.
That was my question and my concern. I have no problem with it as long as our seal, official seal, is not touched. Okay.
I've made, and like I said, this is now one of those issues that I'm going to draw the line in the sand. So
thank God.
Thank God.
It's a seal.
Except for mamey.
We're hungry.
I don't want to see a mamey there.
How about a mamon seal?
I commit to you, Commissioner Corona Reyes, there will not be a mamey seal. At least during my first term. Let me get reelected and then we'll figure it out.
That's right. And keep the color blue. It's that what we are known for. And
I'm not. I have to admit to you guys, I'm a little traumatized from mameys.
Why, you allergic?
Why?
No. When the Pope came here to Miami many years ago,
you gave him a mamey?
No.
He gave you a mamey.
After we left the meet and greet with the Pope, I went and bought a mamey tree, and I planted it that same day. And that tree became the tallest mamey tree within the city of Miami. It would give mameys that in some cases were as big as 5 pounds, which is huge. In fact, I remember Marta Flores, bless her heart, that once she got some of those, she'd be bragging about it in the radio all the time. And then something happened to the mamey tree, and that's why I'm, was left a little traumatized from mameys.
What happened to the mamey tree?
What happened?
That's the part I'm not going to talk about.
Now we all curious.
Now we really want to hear the story.
We want to hear the story, man.
All right, seeing no further discussion on the issue, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carried.
There's just one amendment to include ordinance number 13930.
Thank you very much. Noted for the record. Gentlemen, this is lunch hour. It's at the end. So I'll see everyone back at 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
That's lunch 3 hours.
Thank you.
Hours. It's almost 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Oh, wow. It's almost 1? Oh, wow. Time flies when you're having fun. I want to find out what happened to that mamey tree.
That's right.
I'm sorry. Vicky, is it okay if I call Commissioner Corroy and ask him just that question? Is that okay? Is that allowed?
It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Where was it planted? Maybe we go and interview the neighbors. Yeah. What was the address?
Gentlemen, I have to have lunch.